Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one of one.
My son's right.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
But it's still going. So you understand what I'm saying? So, okay. All right, gang. Obviously, a ton of stories to cover with everything going on with Canada, Mexico, Colombia, Panama. I mean, there's a ton of things that's going on there. And then you have stories about Bukele this morning showing their prison, which looks insane, offering inmates from here to be, he didn't show it today, he showed it yesterday, inmates from here to be sent to El Salvador. And some are saying it's not constitutional, but that's a way of being a partner. So we'll talk about that. And then at the same time, Luca, which is kind of weird. Luca gets traded from the Mavs to the Lakers, and nobody knew about it. LeBron didn't know about it. Luca didn't know about it. Even Mark Cuban seems flabbergasted about the trade because he sold majority of the company to somebody else. We will talk about trades. We will talk about Pierre. We will talk about Justin. We will talk about Panama Canal. We will talk about how Xi weighs retaliation after Trump hits China with 10% tariff. And Schumer says Trump's tariffs will increase price of Super Bowl party staples. He holds I think a Corona and guacamole, which is
avocado.
Avocado. Gold prices hits record high on Lumen UST right now. I think a kilo of gold is officially $90,000. And to put that in perspective, 4 years ago it was $55,000, $53,000. It's now $90,000. Elon Musk says he and Trump are shutting down USAID, and a lot of people lost their minds. Trump says he opened California's water. Local officials say nearly flooded them.
Good.
He lashes out at Jerome Powell, Trump does, after Fed doesn't cut interest rates, and then he switches and approves the Fed's decision, so we'll definitely discuss that. Rubio visits Panama Canal and discusses the influence of what's going on there with them stopping with China. DNC was, some call it I want to use a politically correct word, a shit show. Some people called it what happened with Ken Martin wins election as the next chair of the Democratic National Committee, and David Hogg elected as the vice chair of the DNC. So it means they're more doubling down on what they got going on.
That's it for us.
CBS forced to fork over edited Harris interview transcript, and new staffers irate over talk of Paramount settling Trump's 60-minute lawsuit. Chuck Todd quits NBC News. However, for those worried about it, he does take Chuck Toddcast with him, so you can still listen to him.
Dozens
LA
of
law,
listeners.
Pacific Palisades rebuilding must include low-income housing. Let me read that one more time. New law for LA, Pacific Palisades rebuilding must include low-income housing. We'll talk about that. Zelenskyy not happy the fact that he only got $76 billion out of the $177.
Cocaine's expensive.
Some claim Iran is secretly creating nuclear weapons with 1,800-mile radius, and some said, oh, you can give them the $150 billion. Yeah. They said they would not build a nuclear weapon, so we believe them, right? Yeah, okay, and they're going to sit there and wait for you and not build it in the desert that nobody can track. Costco Teamsters reached tentative deal, even though at the same time Costco decides to raise $30 an hour for non-union employees, leaving 18,000 union members waiting. It's a very strange strategy, but I actually love it. And then we'll talk about the Luca trade. And then on top of that, the addendum, there's a couple other things that came up with Tom Homan, with New Jersey governor coming out there saying, I'm going to have people here refusing. He reveals he's housing a migrant at his residence and tell the feds, good luck trying to get her. And then Homan says, yeah, we're coming for you, buddy. If you have somebody like that, we're coming for you. It's illegal to do that. Trump says he wants Ukraine to supply U.S. with their rare earths. Don Lemon has a weird moment with Kanye West when they face off. I don't know if I'm sure you haven't seen it. Of course, it's not all over the internet. What Kanye West's wife was wearing, the three-piece suit that was missing. But we'll talk about the Kanye and Don Lemon, and then a few other things that we have here if we get time to get into it. Anyways, having said that, couple things, gang. Today's podcast is going to be heavy with a lot of stories, but Valentine's Day, we're only how many days away from Valentine's Day? Exactly 10 days away. You got 10 days to place an order. So here's what we did. My wife's birthday is on Valentine's Day. February 14th is her birthday. And so it's a special day in our family. For some of you that were asking, I want to get something for my wife. She loves Vitamin. She loves PBD Podcast. She watches the content. No problem. Here's what we're doing for you to place the order now. And the first 100 people that do place the order, you got a special gift here. We got the pink Future Looks Bright hat with the Vitamin logo, the American flag on the right, and the Future Looks Bright on the bottom. We got the red Future Looks Bright hat, okay? Then we have this new black. By the way, this sweater's quality is insane. But ladies, you asked for it, you're getting it. And our ladies are actually wearing this in Vitamin with the Vitamin logo. And on the back, that says Future Looks Bright. This looks so good that even Adam was thinking about wearing it because Adam likes black and silver.
All the time.
And then we have this red one here and a few others, pink hats that's out there as well. The red Vitamin logo with the Future Looks Bright, this material.
That sticks out?
Oh, my God. Vinny, just feel the material that sticks out on the silver at the
It's
front.
really soft and it's got an emboss
it's
to
insane.
Like a nap on
So
that thing.
for the first 100 people that place an order for Valentine's Day, Rob, if you can go to the top, you get that sticker that says, I love VT, okay? Be my VT Valentine, which is kind of cool. The V and T are together as well. And you get the gold and black Valuetainment keychain. So if you get the stickers, you get to put the stickers. The other day I had this sticker that I'm putting on my phone that says, I am VT. Stickers are going to, listen, I'm 46 and I still like stickers. But Valentine's Day, go to VTmerch.com, place your order. We want 1 million people wearing the Future Looks Bright gear. Again, go to VTmerch.com, first 100 people to place an order, get the keychain and the limited edition Valuetainment stickers being sent your way. All right, let's get into the story. Tariffs. Mexico, Canada, and China. Justin Trudeau comes out very strong about the fact that if you're going to do 25% tariffs and this is not fair, and what kind of a partner are you? And he gives this speech. Is this the first one or the second one, Rob, this speech?
There's a few clips. This is where he says specifically 25% retaliatory tariffs against the United States.
Go ahead and play this clip here.
Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods.
Ooh.
This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives.
He's so tough.
So
Ce
that
soir-
happens. And then Pierre Poilievre comes out and also puts out a strong tweet about what he's going to be doing with U.S. and how this is unacceptable and how you can't say something like this. So both of them are going strong against Trump. Rob, just go to, yeah, there you go. So both of them go fairly strong at U.S. And if you go a little bit lower, you'll see one basic tweet that's Pierre, that he puts a long tweet if you want to read it, all the way at the top. I asked him a couple questions, which we'll address here in a minute, based on his response. Why is Canada's economy weak? Because he said that. Then, military. We talk about military, which we'll get into that because they don't invest much into the military. You and I were talking about it the other when you brought it up.
Yep.
To go a little bit lower, Rob, this is the other part that I don't think Mexico or Canada understand, which is 77% of Canada's exports go to the U.S., 84% of Mexico's exports go to the U.S. You know what that means? That's your number one customer, okay? You're talking to your number one customer. Your business owners are taking hits. Both of them rely on U.S. Quick tip for Trudeau and Sheinbaum. Read The Art of the Deal. Number 2, take a cold shower. 3, apologize to DJT. And 4, pray. Moments later, what does Trudeau do? He comes out with a very clear plan. Right, Rob? I don't know if you have it. If you just go to his account, writing out exactly what they're going to be doing. Complete switch from what he said earlier. He said, I just had a good call with the president. Canada's implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7. Sounds like Trump.
What
now.
happened?
Exactly sounds like ensure 24/7 eyes on the border. Launch a Canada-U.S. joint force strike to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. I've also signed a new intelligence directive and organized crime and fentanyl, and we'll be backing it with $200 million. Go a little lower, Rob. Please, proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days while we work this thing together. Okay, there's obviously a bunch of things here, Tom. I'll come to you first, and then we'll go into some of the other stories. Your thoughts on this? when he saw this first?
Well, let's unpack it all together here. The first thing to unpack is, remember, Trudeau has not resigned. He only said he was resigning as head of the party and as prime minister. And the reason he hasn't fully walked off stage yet is he has a key ally named Jagmeet Singh in their government. Think of him as the Schumer of Canada working with the president. So Jagmeet is Schumer and Trudeau is that. And so he's held off actually leaving. And what that means is that the Liberals still are clinging on to power, and they're making decisions because they still have what's called the coalition government. And so most people wanted us to point out, and I've gotten some index from people, and we've seen comments that says, hey, people need to understand that us here in Canada, he told us he was resigning, but he hasn't actually left. He's resigning as head of the party and as prime minister. If he was to run against Poilievre, he's going to get his butt kicked. It's going to be the worst defeat in electoral history in Canada. But Jagmeet wants to stay in power. Some people say he's got some financial interest and even a pension that he's trying to preserve. So that's what's going on. So you have Trudeau dealing with the U.S., which is not what the rest of the Canadian Parliament wants. And so when Trudeau comes out and says, me and the coalition government, we're doing this plus this plus this, they have weak support. You know what I mean? It's kind of like having a 50-50 Senate, very weak support. He picks up the phone and calls Trump. Trump says, I'm sending you an email. Cut and paste it. If you could put it on Twitter, that would really be helpful, because that there was exactly what the U.S. wanted. And it's very similar to what Mexico has said. Hey, we're going to control fentanyl. We're going to put some troops at the border. So people need to understand that's what's going on. You're looking at a weak guy that is getting pushed around in Trudeau.
So now, while we're doing this, let me read to you what others are saying about this. Wall Street Journal slams Trump's tariffs, the dumbest trade war in history. Okay, and I got a clip I want to play to you guys that I don't think any one of you guys have seen. I want you to see it, just to see how you react. Rob, there's no pages on today's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to be tough. Okay, so I got to go through the pages. What does it say? Wall Street. Okay, there we go. So the Wall Street Journal editorial board calls President Trump's new tariff on Canada, Mexico, and China one of the dumbest trade wars in history, arguing that they will harm key U.S. industries. Rather than achieve their stated goals, the board dismissed White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's claim that the tariffs would curb drug smuggling, stating drugs have flowed into the U.S. for decades and will continue to do so as long as Americans keep using them. Neither country can stop it. What a position to take. Did you hear that, by the way? Let me read out to you folks one more time. So this is what Caroline Leavitt claims, that the tariffs, not Caroline Leavitt, so the drugs have flowed into the U.S. for decades and will continue to do so as long as Americans keep using them. Neither country can stop it, okay? Nothing we can do about it to stop it. I don't know if I agree with that. The op-ed criticized Trump's broader trade philosophy, stating Mr. Trump sometimes sounds as if the U.S. shouldn't import anything at all, that Americans can be perfectly closed economy, making everything at home, and warned them targeting auto imports would backfire since the U.S. auto industry is really a North American industry with highly integrated supply chains. So while this is going on and people are saying this, a clip comes up of Ronald Reagan from 1987 that I want to play to you guys. Rob, is this the one?
I have it.
Okay. So this is the clip from Ronald Reagan. The date on this clip, I want to say sometime in 1987. To give you the exact date on this, I'll pull it up, the date. Play this clip on what he said about high tariffs and how he breaks it down. And I want to kind of see a little bit of debate on this here. Go ahead, Rob.
Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. Now, there are sound historical reasons for this. For those of us who lived through the Great Depression, the memory of the suffering it caused is deep and searing. And today, many economic analysts and historians argue that high tariff legislation passed back in that period, called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff, greatly deepened the Depression and prevented economic recovery. You see, at first, when someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. What eventually occurs is, first, homegrown industries start relying on government protection in the form of high tariffs. They stop competing and stop making the innovative management and technological changes they need to succeed in world markets. And then, while all this is going on, something even worse occurs. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. The result is more and more tariffs, higher and higher trade barriers, and less competition. So soon, because of the prices made artificially high by tariffs that subsidize inefficiency and poor management, people stop buying. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. The memory of all this occurring back in the 30s made me determined when I came to Washington to spare the American people the protectionist legislation that destroys prosperity. Now, it hasn't always been easy. There are those in the Congress, just as there were back in the 30s, who want to go for the quick political advantage, who risk America's prosperity for the sake of a short-term appeal to some special interest group, who forget that more than 5 million American jobs are directly tied to the foreign export business, and additional millions are tied to imports. Well, I've never forgotten those jobs, and on trade issues, by and large, we've done well.
Okay, so you hear a message like this. Rob, you just send the date. The date is what, April 25th, 1987, the radio address to the nation on free and fair trade from Camp David. This is what that was, okay? When you see a message like that, and you see folks are saying, I'm afraid of this is going to be the worst trade war ever. We shouldn't do this. Reagan was against this, all this other stuff. There's a couple of things people don't think about when they hear Ronald Reagan saying this. At the time when he said this, 1987, do you know what percentage of the global GDP China had? 1987, China, global GDP.
Probably less than 5%.
It's 1.9%.
Okay.
Okay?
Now they're at what? 20%?
It was a global GDP.
Now they're at 17, 18, 19,
Go,
20%?
you'll see a number there that says it was around 1.9% in 1987. So it's a very small number. I mean, maybe if you look it up, Rob, to see what that number is. So today they're at 19.4%.
Yeah.
Now, U.S. in 1987, was at 28.5%. Can you do U.S. GDP? Global GDP, share of GDP 1987.
And now we're probably at what, 25%?
Look at what we were at. Zoom in a little bit. It should be 28.7%. Look at that. 1987, we were 28.7% U.S.
Okay.
That's when Reagan gave the speech.
Mm-hmm.
Go to U.S. global GDP today. Just change that and just put 2020 to 2024.
Probably lower, right?
Okay, watch this. Percentage. Zoom in. No, it should be percentage. Percentage, we are at 25.9% today.
So China's up big time, and we're significantly
down
lower.
3% since then. And China went from a small number that they had. I don't know what their exact number was. We'll pull it up right now, Rob, if you can find it. We went down, China went up. So one could say at the moment, Reagan was right. But one could make the argument to say 37, 38 years later, they helped strengthen China into a superpower that we're relying on them. Look at that. China's percentage of global GDP was at 1.6%. Is that what it was, Rob? Is that what it's saying? Yes. 1987. Can you ask what it is today? China's today? What is China's percentage of global GDP today? Mm-hmm. So they went from 1.6, 1.9% to 19. It should be like 20%, 19 or 20%.
Yep, you're right.
19.3% today. Mm-hmm. So China 10x'd in 38 years, and we dropped 10%. Mm-hmm. So guess what? It may have seemed like a noble thing to do at the time, and we all love Reagan. What an incredible man. But economically, we have strengthened everybody else while U.S. got weaker by percentage. Is that how we're supposed to play the game? Isn't that a philosophy of socialism? Strengthen others but weaken yourself? I don't know in any game that that's the right philosophy. And I'm not sitting here trying to criticize a policy that the president came back from 38 years ago. I'm just saying sometimes something may seem good at the time that may be problematic later on. Tom, your thoughts on this here, because this is really the debate that's going on between the two sides.
Yep, and I think the other side knows what they're saying, and they're full of crap. What's happened here is that look at what's happened under Trump's leadership. But this is about leadership, not about permanent tariffs. And the tariffs haven't been permanent. The tariffs under Trump have been tactics, not taxes. He's taken a tactical position and he's gotten people to move. And by the way, look at that list from Trudeau. If that gets through the Canadian Parliament, that is a good list that makes them a stronger country unto themselves and a helpful partner with the United States. That's a good list. And the Wall Street Journal is treating it like permanent legislation. Oh, this is wrong-headed, When the Journal's editorial board, they know damn well that these are tactics, not permanent taxes. And so they're coming out after him because these are Trump's enemies. But take a look at his leadership. His leadership could not be more clear than Qatar. Hours after he's elected, and Qatar says, hey, we're looking forward to the new leadership. And by the way, we're making some changes here about people that can be in our country. If you're associated with Hamas and the Arab Brotherhood, you know what? We know no part of that. That was Qatar. Colombia last week. I'm going to ship Colombians back to Colombia. In other words, I'm sending people home who have criminal records. And he says, no, you're not going to do that. And he says, hey, escucha, tariff muy grande. And he goes, wait a minute. You know, we thought it over. You know, you can send them here. That was, what was that, 4 hours? Colombia moved in 4 hours. And now you've got Canada moving in less than 48 hours. You are seeing leadership on one side, and you're seeing Trump's enemies using this tariff argument. Oh, he's going to destroy the world. He's going to destroy the economy and everything. What tariffs right now are permanent? Name one. What's permanent? The world is moving.
I'm in a different place. And by the way, I'm with you. You're right. None of them are permanent, but I'm in a very different place.
Go
Adam,
ahead.
your thoughts on?
I want to understand your place, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead. Give me your thoughts, and I'll give you my final
Well,
thoughts.
I think anyone that jumps to conclusions right now just doesn't really understand what's going on right now, because you talked about the Wall Street Journal. You know, obviously Trump is famous for the art of the deal, but basically what's happening right now, it's the art of the temporary deal. Everything that he's doing right now is like, all right, listen, here's what's going on, 25% tariff, 25% tariff. We're going to revisit this in 30 days. If there's anything we can understand about Trump, it's the following. He's trying to make America wealthy again. You know, if there's anything we know about Trump, he feels like we're being treated very unfairly. We understand that. And there's a template for how he's maneuvering. So in his first administration, a lot of people thought that he was more like an Andrew Jackson, right? This sort of rebellious guy bucking the system. Do you know where he's getting this tariff ideation from? Do you know what president that he's mentioned over and over and over again? Have you heard this? President William McKinley. Have you heard him talk about this at all? So William McKinley became president, I believe, in 1896. By the way, fun fact, killed while in office. Interesting, right? So he was known as the tariff king. He was the tariff man on a tariff platform. And basically, after he was shot, Teddy Roosevelt took over. But basically, here are the 3 R's that they talk about of understanding trade. There's number 1, that's bringing in revenue, R, revenue. Number 2 is restriction or protectionism. And number 3 is reciprocity. All right, if you do this, we'll do this. If you do this, we'll do this, sort of playing the game. But you can't do all 3 at once. If there's one thing that Trump is trying to do, is trying to bring in revenue and restrict the flow of illicit activity that's going on in the country, and using that as a bargaining chip.
First of all, it baffles my mind that Wall Street Journal and the Democrats don't see what's going on. Okay, and Tom, you nailed it. These people, Donald Trump is showing dominance in the region. Okay, Democrats, I can't blame them for being scared, Tom. They're not used to having an alpha male lead the country. Okay, we just went from Joe Biden, who was a doormat, to Donald Trump, who was a matador. Okay, this guy is a freaking bull. He doesn't give a shit.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah, you saw that, Tom. And here's the thing. Like, can we understand why? Guys, let's get to the why. Okay, he is sick and tired of Canada, as cool and as they are. They let all these freaking people invade our freaking country. Okay, we don't know who the hell is in here because of them from the north. From the south, we have Mexico, who they're supposed to be our allies. They don't give a shit. They have cartel. They have sex trafficking. They have the freaking fentanyl. They have all this shit coming in. What is he supposed to do? Go to war with these people? No, that's his tactic. You do these tariffs, and what happens? Days later, 24 hours later, everybody changed their tune, Pat. And I did the research. United States only imports 15% of our goods internationally, okay? The rest is domestic, all right? So of that 15%, Canada and Mexico only produce 5% of that. So it's like, what if they wanted to play this
Not
game?
5% of 15. 5% of the total 15%.
Total, yeah,
yes.
of the total.
Yeah, one-third each.
1/3 each. So if they wanted to play this game, they would.
No, Tom. No. That's not what he's saying. That's very important.
Yeah.
15% comes from outside. Say that 15% is whatever, $20 billion. I'm just making up a number.
Yeah.
5% of that $20 billion, he's saying, is Canada and China, Canada and Mexico. Are you saying 5, meaning each of them have a third of them?
Only 15%. Canada and Mexico only produce 5% of that total 15% of our entire.
Those are two different numbers. 5 of the total 15%. So it's not between the two of them. They're 10 out of the 15 because where's China?
Yeah.
Where's everybody else? It's not what you're thinking.
Yeah. So if they wanted to get into this trade war, and I think they realized very, very quickly, Pat, they would turn into a third world country, which Mexico. I mean, you're kind of already there, but this is a boss. This is a freaking guy that's tired of people walking all over us. And guess what? You're going to pay your fair share. That's fair.
PBD, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Because I went and rewatched the video that you did probably 2 months ago on Trump tariffs.
Yeah.
And there was a quote that I kind of want to tee up, but Trump basically came out this weekend and made crystal clear to me. And he goes, instead of taxing our own citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. And then I went back and I realized that in the 1800s, I think almost 100% of our federal revenue came from tariffs. Now it's closer to 2%. So you did a whole expose on basically how this works. What are your thoughts on basically what Trump is doing now?
Okay, so to me, it's a couple different things. Okay, for me with China and Mexico, this is the craziest thing. All right, U.S., you know how much we spend on our military every year?
$1 trillion.
$1 trillion. You know what percentage of our military expenditure, from our GDP, is our military expenditure?
Probably 10 to 15%.
Okay, it's not that, but watch this, Rob. Do me a favor, pull up military expenditure by countries. This is very important that when you look at this. This is, no, go back, all. And go on that link then right there. Yeah, go on Wikipedia. This is very important. And before you look at this, here's what I want you to think about. Do you remember when he exposed the NATO concept? And everybody was like, hey, why are we giving more money than you guys are? You should be more interested in this. I started looking at this and digging in. I'm like, wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense to me. So watch. Go to U.S. global percentage of GDP.
Oh, percentage of GDP, probably 3%.
Well, you just saw it. It says 3%. Go on that.
because part of our actual revenue is closer to 10%.
I got you. So click on that. So watch. Guess who's the lowest? Mexico. They only spend 0.7% of their GDP on military. Why? Because America's their neighbor. We offer protection. They spend $11.8 billion on military. That's it.
Yeah.
Mexico doesn't have a military. They don't have a military. And look who's number 7 on that list. Canada, 1.3%. You don't put money into the military. By the way, if they matched, and U.S. is what? Go to U.S. is, I'm going to do the math here for you. U.S. is what? 3.4%. We spend $916, okay, billion, but 3.4%. What would happen if even Greece spends more money on their military than Mexico and Canada combined times 2? Think about how embarrassing that is. Now go back to go flip it, Rob, if you could. Yeah, so go back to the lowest at Mexico. Watch this. What would happen if Mexico spent the same amount that we do to protect their border and protect their country? What's 3.4% divided by 0.7%? 5. What's 5 times 12 billion? 60 billion. What's the difference between 60 billion and $12 billion? 48. They're saving $48 billion just because they know military of U.S. is strong, so no one's going to attack them. Then watch this. Look at Canada. Canada's at 1.3%. If Canada wanted to invest the same amount of money in the military as we do for expenditure, and they went to 3.4%, guess where they would be at? That's 2x, 2.5x. So that's going to be $54 billion, add another 13, $67 billion. $67 billion as an additional $40 billion. So these guys are saving $40 billion, and Mexico is saving $48 billion because they're relying on U.S.'s $3.4 billion. Cry me a flippin' river. Keep the 25%. Keep it. Keep it for 4 years. Let them realize, hey, you want us to provide protection? No more. Your neighbor. Spend the same amount of money as well. You buy some security. Why are you always relying on me to pay security? So imagine you live in a community, gated community, and you say, we want to have security and cop over here. It's going to cost us $12,000 a month. You pay for it because you're the richest guy in the area. We don't need to pay for it. Bullshit. You pay the cop. You pay the security. I have a problem with this. So to me, now somebody may say, well, it's military-industrial complex and all this other stuff. Build a bit of a stronger military. When's the last time you thought about Mexico or Canada as a strong military?
Never.
When's the last time you thought about them being a superpower on the military side? You don't think about them. This, to me, makes me think you are not worried about your border. So if you're not worried about your border, of course you're not going to be sitting there thinking about what you need to be doing. So I'm all about keeping the tariffs on them or telling them, strengthen your damn military. Guess what? If you can show me that you're going to spend 40 to 50 billion strengthening your military, so you're also not going to be attacked. I don't want my neighbors to be unsafe. Both of you guys are beside me. Guess what? You better take care of your family. You take care of your family. I want your house to be protected. If I leave I go out there and buy $1 million of security for my house, hypothetically, okay, and you leave your door open, you leave your back door open, and it's so open for anybody to come and do anything to you, I'm looking at you saying, hey, bro, what are we doing here? Why are you doing this? Somebody robs your house. Guess what house they're looking at? Right next door. Who's next door? Me. Mm-hmm. Where's fentanyl coming from? Through you guys. Through who? China. And then what does China say? Here's what China said. Look what an irresponsible comment China is making. This really, when you think about China says the following. China says, the fentanyl is America's problem. Fentanyl is America's problem. Where is fentanyl produced?
Well, China and Mexico
from China and it comes to the border,
clandestine operations.
So watch this here. So China's government on Sunday denounced on Trump's administration's imposition of long-threatened 10% tariff on China's imports while leaving the door open of talks with the U.S. Beijing said it would take unspecified measures. Go to the part where they say it's not our problem. Little bit low, Rob, if you could. Zoom in a little bit and find the fentanyl phrase. Trump on Saturday ordered 25%. Go a little bit. There you go. Okay, fentanyl is America's problem. China's foreign ministry, the Chinese side, has carried out extensive anti-narcotics cooperation with the United States and achieved remarkable results. Really? Okay. So then the U.S. is dealing with Mexico and Canada. This is not going to work out. It's just not going to work out. So this is not the U.S. of 1987. We had a 1.9% global share of GDP versus 2.28%, where we had a 15x lead on China.
Yeah.
You know what a 15x lead is? That means imagine you're beating somebody up. The score is, let's make up the score, 45-3 is the score. You're playing football. They got one field goal, 45-3. You're like, well, it's not fair. Throw some interceptions. Allow them to have some statistics so they can. I love you, Ronald Reagan. I got your picture on the wall. But I'm sorry, long term, that affects because China got so much stronger. I think Nixon had a lot of great policies. But Nixon also going off the gold standard and opening up China, there was also some measures there. So for us, I think this is a form of socialism to please the world. I don't know about that. I'm not fully there. So for me, I would sit there and have a conversation with exactly what the president did with Canada and with Mexico and say, you better get your act together to be safer or else we have a problem. We're not going to have any more of our kids dying because of drugs and fentanyl, and we're just not going to be doing that. You don't get your act together, we're done. So I have a very, very big problem with how lackadaisical those two countries are with their military, with making it a safe place. And if they're not safe, the border's not going to have a very big problem there. For me, it stops right there.
Quick follow-up, and I love how you use the sports analogy. So if it was 45-3 40 years ago, how close is the game now?
What do we
45-35?
Just do 25? No, the score is 25-19. The score is 25-19.
No, if we still have 45 is what I'm saying.
No, we don't. Okay,
we lowered.
I see what you're saying. So if it's 45-3, 25-19, 20%, that's kind of like...
They made a comeback in the second half.
Do you know what the score is? What? The score is right now 50-40.
These mother is making a comeback.
That's the score. We scored 5 more points, and they've scored 37 more points. And we're sitting there saying, don't worry about it, guys. It's okay. Let them keep growing.
Can I show you something very interesting? Why I think what you pointed out with Mexico is so important. I had Rob put in chat GBT. What are the most dangerous cities in the Western Hemisphere? You ready?
Juarez?
The top 3 are all... The top 3? Oh, my God.
Juarez.
1, 2, 3, 4... 9 out of the top 10 cities are all in Mexico. Are you kidding me? So you're talking about international aid and how much you're spending on GDP for your military. How about your police forces? Oof. What's going on with these cartels? No wonder they want to label all these cartels terrorist organizations.
Well, yeah. Oh.
What has happened? The most dangerous cities? By the way, in Haiti, Port-au-Prince, where some of my friends are at, That's a full-on war zone these days. It's not even as dangerous. Scroll down to see where Port-au-Prince is in this. It's not even on there. Unbelievable. Where's Juarez? Right there. That's number 9.
Juarez is dude.
So you're telling me in Mexico, our neighbor, just to the south, 9 of the top 10 most dangerous cities in the entire Western Hemisphere are in Mexico?
Yeah. And
by the way, Bogota, I'm sorry, not Bogota. I've been to Bogota. What's the capital of Venezuela? Caracas. It's an absolute sham what is happening over there. You're saying that those cities in Mexico are more dangerous than Caracas?
Yeah, but Adam, the fact that listen, they let the cartel runs the show, okay? And the amount of shit that comes over our border, from the drugs, from the sex trafficking to everything, how are you guys not dealing with your problem? That's your problem.
Yeah.
So deal with that shit. That's not. Why is that resting on us?
Tom, can you be a devil's advocate to what I just said? Could you do that? Like, find a leak to the argument I just gave.
Well, so kind of hard for me to do because I agree with you, and I agree pretty strongly with you about what has happened and how it has all come back. And there's numbers that back up what you said about specifically Canada. You know where NORAD is? What's NORAD? You're in the Air Force.
I don't know the actual acronym.
NORAD is in Denver or in Colorado?
Colorado.
Thank you, Adam. Good. Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
NORAD, North American Air Defense. It's a joint effort to protect Canada and U.S. airspace on the north side from Russia sending over. And by the way, Canada committed, here we go, Pat, $38 billion over 20 years in 22 during COVID. And it was to upgrade it because it needs upgrades and stuff, and Canada is not really paying its fair share. So we are protecting Canada. It's not just a metaphor you're talking about. NORAD was built to protect Canada, and they're doing an advanced computer upgrade right now, which is $1.5 billion. So that's like 1 year of Canada's contribution, $40 billion. So what you're hearing is absolutely correct. They're underspending. We are spending. And the numbers back that up. So your point about Mexico and Canada not spending because we have a strong neighbor next to them is absolutely correct. And going the other way, so you say, okay, well, you're not going to put the tariffs in place because I can't play devil's advocate because I'll give you some other facts. China never let the renminbi float with international currency. And so they played games. That's sort of a negative tariff. You follow that, Pat? You won't let your currency float with others. That's like a tax on other people because you're artificially undercutting them on the price of goods and services on an international scale. And so I agree with some of what Reagan said in 1987 in the history books. But today you have to look at it and say, wait a minute. You can't look at this isolation. China didn't let its currency float. I look at it. It's hard for me to be the devil's advocate because I agree with you. Times have changed and things are different, and we're getting leadership. And the other side, Chuck Schumer waving guacamole around. If all you got, Chuck, is guacamole to talk about,
Coronas,
that tells us all we need to know about your position on the topic.
Yeah, I have a problem with that. And by the way, play this clip, Rob, and then go to the other one with CNN showing the trust American people are uncomfortable with. Here's Schumer for you.
Let's just take Super Bowl Sunday, okay?
Yeah. Where he's going to be making cheeseburgers frozen.
Affect beer, okay?
Look at him.
Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico.
What a weasel.
It's going to affect your guac, because what is guacamole made of? Avocados, both from Mexico.
Okay, so
that's great, man.
By the way, you know what that is?
Very interesting.
That works for day-to-day average Americans. Like, oh my God, my price is going to go up. But the real question is, we also have Bud Light.
Yeah.
We have, Coors. We have, what else do we have? We have, go to another one. What other drinks do
California
we have?
makes guacamole as well.
We have plenty of different opportunities
Modelo,
with guacamole.
that's in a price war
We have
with
a lot
Corona.
of them. Listen, I'll go old school too. Where's Mickey's made out of, Tom? Mickey's
Big Mouth?
Right. Where's that made out of?
I thought that was in the United States.
Yeah.
Mickey's.
I'll go to, if it comes down to that, that's the messaging, right? But play the clip, Rob. Mickey's is from where? Wisconsin. Milwaukee. There you go. So, who was the Hall of Famer from Milwaukee Brewers? Not George Brett, the other guy.
Harmon Killebrew.
Yount.
Robin Yount.
Yount.
So, can you go to the other clip right
Milwaukee's
there? Go for it.
best.
You got 3,000 hits, by the way. Go ahead.
like Howard Stern's mother. Something horrible has happened here. That's what's going on here, getting on my biggest New York Jewish accent I could. Trump's tariffs on Canada, China, Mexico. Look at this. Just 38% support. You don't have to be a mathematical genius to figure out that 51% oppose is larger than the 38% support. Look, Trump has done some fairly popular things in his first few weeks in office. This is not one of them. No, no, no. Horrible, 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 to quote Charles Barkley. The American folks are opposed to these tariffs when you ask it specifically like this about the three countries, or if you ask it more vaguely about tariffs overall, they simply put, do not like it, Mr.
It's interesting. Even with China in the question, people say that they are opposed to tariffs. The majority here, and there's not a majority on a lot of things these days. How about how Americans say they want to see Donald Trump focused in this first 100 days and whether tariffs should be a focus?
You know, the two big focuses for Trump in the polling are immigration and the economy. Tariffs ain't it, my dear friend. Tariffs ain't it. Trump should focus on tariffs. In November of 2024, when Ipsos asked it, it was 1%. Look at what happened in December of 2024. It doubled. It doubled, but to only 2%. When you double to only 2%, you know that the American people don't want Trump's focus to be here. They don't like it. They don't want his focus to be there. They want it to be on other issues.
I'm sorry. Are they paying attention?
I'm sorry. I genuinely feel this way. I don't think most Americans understand tariffs. I don't think most Americans understand what they're there for. I don't think that they want Trump to focus on it because they don't want to focus on it. They just want to live their lives and do what they got to do. But go talk to the parents or the family members of someone who has died from fentanyl. And we know that I just literally came back from New York because I was at a friend's funeral because he overdosed on fentanyl.
Accidental. I wouldn't even say overdose, but go ahead.
The reality is this is a problem. This is a epidemic. The opioid crisis is a real thing. It's been here for a decade or two right now. And the doctors just giving out pills and Vicodins and Oxycontins and all these sort of like pill labs that are popping up all over the world. China, Mexico, basically throwing them in here. So if you're Trump and you're like, all right, I have two options here. Okay, Corona and guacamole might cost a little bit extra, or let's save literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of lives. For Trump, it's not even a question. By the way, there's one thing, one thing is getting clearer and clearer and clearer. Trump actually has an ideology. Before, he was sort of like, whatever people want to hear. One thing he's always said is, what does he tell all his kids? No drugs, no tattoos, no drinking, no smoking. He's seeing drugs pour through Mexico and Canada, and he's like, enough's enough. We're putting an end to this. So I think that's a major part of why he's doing
fentanyl deaths in 12 months. It was 100,000 Americans dead. That's 2 Vietnams. Where's that? You know, the war on drugs that we had? That is a war. And you're right, Adam. The average person, tariffs, they don't know shit. They don't know. Okay, we have to fight fire with fire. What's he supposed to do, Pat? Bomb them? Let's just bomb Mexico. No, you idiots. That's what we do. You hurt them in their wallet, and that's how we roll, bro.
Tom.
I'm proud of him. Good.
I have a quick parting shot on this. And on Harry Ensign, I normally like what Harry does and with the numbers and everything. So I'm a numbers person. But that was disingenuous, Harry. What he's looking at, if you look at, and Adam hit it, if you were to ask people back in December, what issues do you care about? Just because the election was over, they still cared about immigration. They still cared about inflation. They still cared about cost of housing. They still cared about interest rates on mortgage. And if you looked at lists, those were top to bottom. Last night I went back and forth, connected a little bit with our good friend Mark Mitchell over at Rasmussen. Yeah. And guess what? We were both calling it the art of the deal. And the Americans that were looking at it understand that Trump is dealing. They understand that he's negotiating. And so when Harry says, tariffs went from 1% to 2%, you have to look at it. It's like a stack rake analysis, and people are still concerned about immigration. They like what they're seeing on that. They're still concerned about inflation. They're waiting to see what happens at the gas pump and for heating oil. And they're still very concerned about cost of living and housing. And so, by the way, if it went the other way, do you think CNN would be saying America's feelings double You know, 1% to 2%.
No.
If it would go in their place, they'd hide the number, instead say, America's feelings doubled on this issue. And they'd go the other way. So, Harry, I like the work you're doing and everything, but come on. You just cherry pick that out of that, and you're poking a little bit.
All right. So that's enough on the tariff stuff. But obviously, we have our own opinions. We're going to see what's going to happen. We'd love to hear your thoughts. That's where you get to comment and share with each other and tell us how you feel about it. We'll see. A lot of Canadians message me saying, Pat, you know, it sounds like you guys don't like Canadians. I said, this has got nothing to do with you. This has got nothing to do with Mexico, with Mexicans. Some of my best friends in the world are Mexicans, literally Mexicans, from Guadalajara, from Michoacan, from all of those places. However, but go back with El Salvador. Our top earner in the insurance company is from El Salvador, Rodolfo Ceci Vargas. I love what Bukele just said. Even though it's not constitutional, I love what he just said the other day. So Marco Rubio goes there. And is this the message, Rob? Is this the...
Yes.
And then if you can prepare the tweet after this as well to talk about what he's saying. So he goes to meet with Bukele, and Bukele offers to take the inmates from U.S. there at their jail that they have. You have to see this place. Go ahead, Rob. Play this clip of Marco Rubio.
He has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality, be they MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and house them in his jails. He has offered to house in his jails dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, including those of U.S. citizenship and legal residence.
Now go to the tweet and show the picture. Go to the clip and show the picture if you can go on Twitter. This is what he posted.
Rubio did?
No, Bukele. Just go to my most recent tweet. You'll see it right there. So, but let's read his tweet. Yeah, here we go. We have offered U.S. The opportunity to outsource. We are willing to take in only convicted criminals, including convicted U.S. citizens, into our mega prison in exchange for a fee. The fee would be relatively low for the U.S., but significant for us, making our entire prison system sustainable. Look at that right there. Okay.
You know what that statement means?
Yeah, I know what that means.
We'll take the revenue.
Yeah. By the way, taxpayers pay $47,000 per year per inmate, but in El Salvador it's going to be roughly $10,000 or $11,000.
So we're saving $30,000,
$36,000.
Weird,
right?
Weird.
So the thing is, and then I wrote here, I said, this is how you strengthen your relationship with America. Canada, Mexico, Colombia, and others should consider this approach. The question I got for you, Tom, is this constitutional? Can we send our inmates from here to El Salvador? Rob, can you Google that search it to see if that is constitutional? Go ahead, Tom.
I'm unsure about it, but I do know this, that once you are a federal criminal, you commit a felony at federal level, you lose your right to vote. You lose a lot of things, Pat. And so do you also lose, and you have your right to the appellate process, but could the U.S. outsource incarceration? And you're still appealing, but you're incarcerated other places? I don't know. But I do know you lose a lot of rights. And by the way, this is not unprecedented. Do you know what populated Australia for the most part? You know, that came from Britain? Prisoners. They sent their prisoners to,
of course.
To
it was a penal
Australia.
colony for the Brits.
Correct. And
a bunch of criminals in
and
Aussie.
Today in Bermuda, certain crimes, they send you to the UK. They do not have prisons in Bermuda. You go back to the UK for certain crimes. As long as it's not drunk driving or misdemeanor bar fight, you know, if you do something, you have to go. So around the world, it is not unprecedented where prison populations are other place. Now in the U.S., I'd love to understand what it is. I don't know offhand, but I do know when you get convicted of a crime, you lose a lot in the United States. You have your right to the appellate process, but you lose a lot of rights.
Yeah, I think, well, think about it. Okay, American criminals that are in jail, okay, whatever. But if you're from Venezuela, if you're from Colombia, you're from any country, and you do anything illegal, or you even enter here illegally, no questions asked, airplane, dump their asses back. You don't belong here. I don't even know why the argument, like these people just don't understand. You're not supposed to be here, take your people back. What did he do, Tom, with Colombia? In 24 hours, what did he do?
Trump said, hey, we're sending these Colombians back to Colombia. Yeah. And these are illegal aliens and people that have criminal records. We're sending them back to Colombia. And Petra, I think, is the dictator there, Petra in Colombia. He goes, ay, caramba, you will not send those people here. In which Trump says, escuche.
Yeah,
Tariff muy grande.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what? We thought it over. You know what? Tell you what,
Take 'em.
we'll swing by and we'll pick the guys
pick
up
them
ourselves.
yourself. Yeah, spend your own gas money.
And it was a flip.
Rob, let me see that on VTnews.ai. What does it tell us? So you asked the question, is it constitutional to send American prisoners to El Salvador prison to serve their sentence? The
Eighth Amendment
constitutionality of sending American prisoners to serve their sentence in El Salvador will likely face significant legal challenges. While no such program has been implemented, the proposal raises several concerns. Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment. The conditions in Salvadorian prisons described as harsh and dangerous. The U.S. Department could potentially violate this amendment. Due process, the 5th and 14th Amendment guarantees due process rights. Transferring prisoners to foreign jurisdiction could be seen as infringing on these rights. Right to counsel, the 6th Amendment ensures the right to legal representation. This could be compromised if prisoners are moved to foreign. Equal protection. There could be concerns about selective enforcement if only certain prisoners are chosen for transfer. And then what's the last one? Treaty powers, such as arrangement would likely... By the way, so VTnews.ai gave a better answer than ChatGPT. Do me a favor, go back to the website, zoom out a little bit. And sick. Good shout out to VTnews.ai. And that was the part with the VT's AI that gave the answer. Can you go to the first 100 days just while we're here, Rob? Go to the first 100 days. Let's see what the first 100 days is right there. What is today's question? Will Trump sit for a I say yes. I don't know what the answer is going to be for others.
Think so?
Will he sit for a pre-Super Bowl interview? Hell yeah, he will, and he should. He should. I think he should. That's my answer. You don't have to agree with it, but I think that's my answer. So first 100 days, go to the website and vote for your first 100 days. So there you go. So it says it's going to be tough through court, but noble idea and a good sign of being a partner. Adam, thoughts?
So this guy, Nayib Bukele, the first time I ever heard of him, I think he was elected in 2019, right when COVID basically was just kind of getting started out there. And then in 2020... when he was officially took office, he assumed office, and he won the election by just a little bit over 50%. I think 53% is what he won by. And then since then, what he initially became known for was the Bitcoin guy. He basically made El Salvador take Bitcoin as legal tender, and that's what he was known for. But then fast forward to 1 year ago today, literally 2024, February 4th, he was reelected and assumed office, and you know what is how much he won the election by? 85%. So it was 53% in 2019. 5 years later, 85%. So meaning the country was like, yo, we want this guy. So he's been nicknamed the coolest dictator in the world. And there was an exchange a few months ago when he was basically going back and forth, I think, of the European politician. And the politicians were like, we don't know, we don't like how you treat your people. And he goes, listen, you do you, I'm gonna do me. Look at the people I have to deal with in my country. Look what's going on here. Maybe you guys in Europe might want to do the same thing to the basically jihadists who are basically entering your country. So he's cleaned up El Salvador. The point is this. I think they were literally the least safe country in the Western Hemisphere. And now apparently they're one of the most safe countries, especially in Latin America.
And by the way, to transition with that, what you said about Europe, Putin just said the following about Europe. Putin says Europe will stand at the feet of the master as Trump's tariffs alarm allies. This is a CNBC story, Rob. I think you got the clip on this. Putin praised Trump's tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, claiming his administration would restore order in Europe. By the way, Putin put China in the statement, and we know China is an ally.
Yep.
So think for him to say that China is listening to every word coming from Putin. In an interview with pro-Kremlin journalist Pavel Zarubin, Putin stated, I assure you, Trump, with his character, with his persistence, he will restore. Rob, if you can't find
I
it here, Rob.
I just sent it to Rob.
Okay.
Rob, I just liked it, buddy.
It's going to be on Twitter. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, your machine, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have it?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead and play
I
this
love
clip,
this
Rob.
clip.
Go
Look how
ahead.
sick this is.
Что-то изменилось, что ли, со времен Байдена? Да ничего не изменилось. Они с удовольствием выполняли любой приказ со стороны Вашингтона при Байдене. Просто им Трамп не нравится, они с ним боролись активно, да, реально вмешивались в политическую жизнь и предвыборный процесс в Соединенных Штатах. Потом растерялись, когда Трамп выиграл. И потом Байден
mentally like Biden more,
понимаете,
mentally.
А But
Trump has different ideas about what is good, what is bad, including gender policy and some other issues. They kind of don't like that.
Им как бы не нравится это. Но я вас уверяю,
But I assure you, Trump with his character persistence, he will restore order pretty quickly.
Настойчивостью он наведет порядок довольно быстро. Все они,
and all of them, you'll see, it will happen quickly soon. All of them will stand at the master's feet and gently wag their tails.
You know what that is? This is an alpha boss recognizing another alpha boss. He knows, and that's why he has that smirk. And he's not stupid, Tom.
Part of it, he's stirring the pot, but
of course,
what he's not stirring the pot on is gender ideology, because he gave an impassioned speech at the Russian Orthodox Church 3 years ago. Do you remember this?
Yeah, of course.
Putin, he sat there and he talked all about that. So on that item, he does not. He is honestly and being very legitimate. Now, is he stirring the pot on other things, and is he still Vladimir Putin? Of course he is.
Yeah, usually I take what Putin says with a deep grain of salt because he is former KGB, he's a thug, and he's definitely has zero, he does not have America's interest in mind whatsoever. But on this, he's actually being accurate. But I always very skeptical of whatever Putin says because why is he being so nice and basically brown-nosing Trump? Because he knows he's going to have to renegotiate this Russian-Ukrainian deal. And in my mind, he's just sort of flattering Trump and sort of poking the rest of the world and calling Trump their daddy. So I actually agree that Putin is right on this one, though.
Yeah. All right. So quote that, folks. Adam defends Putin. Okay. So now, you know,
yeah,
they're going to come for you, buddy, just so you know that. While all this stuff is taking place, while this is going on, Zelenskyy is unhappy. Okay. A little bit complaining. And he tries to call his boss to say, guys, I need some money. And he says he ran out. Ukraine received only $76 billion out of the $177 billion approved by America. And he's collecting. It's like, hey, what happened to my money? I thought you guys said you guys going to pay me more. Look at the room he's in while he's saying this. Go ahead, Rob. Play this clip. That room looks like it got $76 billion of the money, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Дивіться. Я коли чую, і раніше чув, і сьогодні ми чуємо від Сполучених Штатів Америки, що Америка дала Україні сотні мільярдів, 177, якщо сказати більш точно. Така звучала точна цифра, яку підтримували або голосував Конгрес, тощо різні організації. Дивіться, я як президент воюючої країни вам говорю, ми отримали більше 75. Тобто 100 мільярдів з цих 177 або 200, говорять навіть деякі люди, ми ніколи не отримували. І це важливо. Бо ми говоримо про конкретні речі, бо ми отримали це не грошима, а зброєю. Ми зброю отримали на 70 з чимось мільярдів.
Yeah, you can pause it right
I can't believe we've given this guy so much freaking money. I cannot stand it. Like,
well, apparently he's saying he didn't get half the money.
Yeah,
is that what he said?
Do you trust that guy? I don't trust any of these people, bro. Are you freaking kidding me? None of that money should be going to them. It should be going to us.
Adam, your thoughts?
Unbelievable.
I mean, has anybody had a more fall from grace than Volodymyr Zelenskyy? In, I think, 2022 when the war started. I mean, we all know what happened prior to that, but everyone was wearing their Ukraine pins and everyone was pro-Ukraine and everyone was focused on Russia being the bad guy. And then that little war in Gaza broke out and nobody gave about Ukraine anymore. And then the entire administration and the entire world basically gave up on Ukraine. But meanwhile, how many people have died in the Russia-Ukraine war? I think 1 million people. And they're, I mean,
is this Trump on EU?
This is Trump yesterday, late last night, discussing the United States seizing some of Ukraine's precious metals in return for the foreign aid.
Which, by the way, I thank you. Go ahead and play this clip, please.
We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earth. We want what we put up to go in terms of a guarantee. We want a guarantee. We're handing them money hand over fist. We're giving them equipment. European is not keeping up with us. They should equalize. And look, we have an ocean in between. They don't. It's more important for them than it is for us. But they're way below us in terms of money. And they should be paying at least equal. They should really be paying much more than us, but let's say equal to us, and they're billions and billions of dollars below. So we're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things.
By the way, you're seeing all these clips resurface from like what Trump said 10 years ago about tariffs, 20 years ago about China ripping us off, 30 years ago about Japan. Trump is at least consistent. Like I said earlier, I'm starting to see a consistent ideology. If there's one thing Trump cares about, it's the mother flipping money. I want the money. Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money? Where's the money? Ukraine, I want the money. Art of the deal. Where's the money? Tariff, tax, money, treated unfairly. Money. That's all he wants is the
Yeah.
If you don't give me my money, you're fired. That's Trump. Straight up.
Well, I think there's also a consistent thing that if people look below the surface, they're going to see. What was the issue with Greenland? He didn't want a 51st state. He was like, hey, look, this is the way we're going to do this. You can be like Puerto Rico. We'll provide vents. We'll do this. But you've got a lot of minerals and stuff that we want here, and we don't want you to have that China deal. Yep. And Panama Canal, what came out last night? We've rethought our China deal, says the president of Panama. Now, what's he talking about? Ukraine, rare earth minerals. He's looking for rare earth minerals to help U.S. industry, multiple industries. This is semiconductor. This is lithium batteries. This is electric vehicles. Yep. He is looking to get those resources for the U.S. and eliminate the pinch. Pat, we had a long segment 2 weeks ago on the Panama Canal, talked about the importance of it and how it gets pinched. He is out there with great consistency. So what you just heard about Ukraine is very similar to what you heard about Greenland. He wants to get those resources for the United States, and he wants to limit China's traction on the same thing.
Great. And by the way, go at it.
Yep. Go for it.
Go for it.
Hell
and
yeah.
Guess what? For the people that voted for him and helped him win, we voted for this.
Yes.
Very simple. We voted for this. So there's nobody sitting here complaining. By the way, next one here. Elon Musk says he and Trump are shutting down USAID. And I don't know if you have the Ilhan Omar clip, Rob. There's a Ilhan Omar clip and a few other ones where people are just absolutely flabbergasted by this and not happy about this. I'm sure you'll find it. Let me just read this and then we'll go to it. That's the one. Did you have a clip for this as well, Rob?
I do. I have Jamie Raskin. I have a few clips. I can start with the Ilhan
Let me just
Omar.
read this, and then you can play some of the clips. So Elon Musk, head of Trump's DOGE, announced on X that he and President Trump are shutting down the USAID and the U.S. Agency for International Development. We're shutting it down, Musk declared in the middle of the night, later clarifying we're in the process of shutting USAID. And he said the plan and full support of the president, adding, with regard to USAID stuff, I went over it with him in detail, and he agreed that we should shut it down. I actually checked with him a few times and said, are you sure? And Trump responded, yes. Trump, while not explicitly confirming the shutdown, said Musk is doing a good job and called USAID run by a bunch of radical lunatics. And here you're going to see some of the lunatics. Go ahead, Rob.
So here's Trump actually stating that. I also have Caroline Levitt, who issues, she reads some of the waste from USAID, and then I have Jamie Raskin.
Well, why don't you play Jamie Raskin first, because that's who he's referring to as a lunatic. Go ahead.
Elon Musk, you didn't create USAID. The United States Congress did for the American people.
Oh, my God, that guy's tough. Jeez.
And just like Elon Musk did not create USAID, he doesn't have the power to destroy it. And who's going to stop him? We are. We're going to stop him.
Right. Fantastic. I am shivering right
Elon
now.
Musk,
Elon,
you
run.
may have illegally seized power over the financial payment systems of the United States Department
illegally
of Treasury,
seized power.
But you
Hang
don't
on, Jamie.
Control the money of the American people.
Rob, go
the
to
United
Ilhan's
States
clip. You know what it reminded me of from that movie? Nothing but the Benjamins.
Yeah.
I'm shivering.
I'm shivering.
You will never find. Go ahead.
We are witnessing a constitutional crisis.
Okay.
We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one.
How's your brother
and
doing?
Here we are. This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like.
Fantastic.
Look at the guy in the mask. Wearing a mask with glasses.
Constitution, and you install yourself as the sole power. That is how dictators are made. What Trump and Elon and all of their cronies are trying to do is take away the constitutional power of Congress.
Oh, God.
We get to decide. We have the power of the purse. We get to decide where money is allocated, and it's the executive's power to make sure that that money gets to where it needs to get.
You can pause it right there.
When we...
Okay, now you can go to somebody a little bit more friendlier. And the press,
right.
play Trump and then go to her.
We were minding our own business, wasting money.
Go ahead, Rob.
Well, it's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
I mean, Pat, if you guys think about it, 97% of political contributions from USAID employees went to guess who? Democrats. No wonder why Ilhan Omar and Jamie Raskin are furious, bro. Their money is about to go bye-bye. You understand? Like that's why the left hates RFK, because that's why Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, Tom, they hate RFK because he's messing with big pharma money. That's why they hate Kash Patel, because he's about to air everybody's laundry out.
They got a $50 billion budget.
$50 billion.
Let's call it what it is. It's a government-funded super PAC for the Democrats.
That's all it is. So no wonder why they're going to be kicking and
you
screaming.
call it USAID to distract people. We're helping people with aid, like the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah. And this is who, Robbie?
Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, talking about some of the waste.
I thought, by the way, Rob, when you sent this to me yesterday, I thought it was a joke. Listen to what your money is going to, literally.
USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
Oh, and just FYI, $520 million was spent on ESG consultants, $1.2 billion to undisclosed recipients, and $375 million in DEI agents. Okay, it's unbelievable. I think we're going to go there. Over the past 22 years, the Department of Treasury has denied how many requests for payments? Do you know? I think you talked about it yesterday.
No,
zero.
Yeah.
Zero. Nobody knew any of this until DOGE came along, okay? And then what was that guy's name, Tom? David Lebrick. He resigns before getting one question from any of them for DOGE. And that's it, bro. The Pentagon, in fact, just real quick spending. Pentagon spent $600 million on guess what? Sushi. The IRS is spending $230,000 a month on Starbucks cinnamon roast K-Cups a month.
How much again?
$230,000 a month on Starbucks cinnamon roast K-Cups, and then $1,280 per little disposable plastic cups. Each cup, we're spending $1,228.
You know what this reminds me of?
Ridiculous.
You ever see the movie with Morgan Freeman in the late 80s called Lean on Me? Lean on me when you're not strong. And he basically comes in.
Save your voice.
I'm going to do my thing, guys. I've got a great singing voice.
Yeah,
So his name was Joe Louis Clark. He was the principal. He shows up at East Side High School, and it's a freaking mess. There's fights, everything. Kids are skipping class. Drug dealers are out there. Girls are hoeing it up. You know this movie?
Of course.
He shows up with a shotgun. Homeboy rolls in. Look at the picture right here. Scrolling right there. There it is, right there, Rob. You see it?
That's not a shotgun.
We go,
okay. All right, maybe it was a bat.
You doing crack cocaine, aren't you? If you're going to do an expedition
He
thing,
might
you
have had
want
a
to jump
gun
off
too.
the building.
He definitely had a bat.
Wow, Louisville Slugger now makes shotguns.
Yeah, and he basically cleaned up this crime-riddled, drug-infested,
locked the doors, which was illegal, but whatever.
Ass school. And basically, what did everybody say? No, you're mean. No, let us do what we want to do. He's basically like, clean up your room.
That's true.
Get your grades together.
Great example.
And that's exactly what Trump is doing.
Guess what, folks? Go watch the movie if you haven't seen it, okay? And there is no leaning on me in the movie. Like, it is about lean on me, but in a very different way than most people think it is.
Maybe we should sing that song, Pat.
Sometimes in our lives, we all need pain. We all have pain.
We
all have sorrow.
we get those lyrics, Rob?
Rob,
let's get some lyrics here.
Until tomorrow, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Let's move on. By the way,
Tom, come on, take it home.
You know who needs to sing this song? Costco. Because a lot of people are leaning on the union.
Okay.
And Costco said, you know what? We're going to give the non-union members a raise. So let me read the story to you, folks. Costco decides to give a raise to over $30 an hour to who? Their non-union employees, leaving 18,000 union members waiting. They're like, wait a minute, who's getting a bigger raise? The non-union folks are getting paid more than you. But that's not fair. Well, then don't leave the union, right? Anyways, Costco announced that all the employees of its non-union stores will get a raise just the day before employees at its 50 unionized local locations go on a strike. Hourly pay for non-union members at the Costco pay scale will get an hour raise to $30.20 per hour with a $1 raise coming to next 2 years afterwards. More than half of Costco's employees are at the top of the pay scale owing to extremely low turnover. Non-union employees at the low end of the pay scale will receive 50 cents an hour raise. Raising starting will pay $20 an hour. Additional benefits will be also granted, including an extra week of vacation after 30 years and vacation for new workers in their first year. Tom, tell us what's going on here with Costco, because I'm liking this move a little bit.
So first of all, let's pull a couple words out of here. More than half of Costco's employees are at the top of the pay scale, meaning if you have a range for a position, they're at the top of it because of extremely low turnover. So in other words, they've been getting raises each year and they've been moving along, and now they're at the top of that. So why is there low turnover? People like working at Costco,
right.
And now they're getting additional benefits. Oh, extra week of vacation when you've been there 30 years. And vacation for new workers within your first year. You will be granted some vacation in your first year. So it sounds like Costco cares about its workers, is paying rates, $30 an hour for somebody working at Costco. They're paying a meaningful rate. Meanwhile, the unions, once upon a time, unions were out there when factories were run 14 hours a day and they were unsafe and people were getting hurt on factory machinery. And before OSHA and before, balancing, unions served a purpose. Well, now the Teamsters, which only represent Costco workers in California, blue, Washington, blue, Maryland, blue, Virginia, kind of blue, New Jersey, less blue lately, but blue, and New York. So it's blue states that they've been able to get traction. Why haven't they been able to get traction in the red states? Because the workers are saying, why do I need to give a union dues to you? I'm making almost $30 an hour here, and I get vacation, I get benefits. I've been working at Costco 25 years, and they've been good to me. Why do I need you, union? And why do I need to pay a union due to you? You know what? You're insurance that I don't need. I don't need that policy. And so that's what's going on. And Costco, in the middle of dealing with the unions, the timing was perfect because now they raise the pay to over $30 an hour. They add more benefits to the people that are non-union. So guess what it does? It completely takes the teeth out of the union. And this is Costco saying, I'm doing pretty good. And as the union is trying to create a strike and trying to create problems, you have a lot of people on the other side at Costco are saying, I don't know, this company's been pretty good to me. Why do I need the union?
PBD, let me ask you, because I did not anticipate us talking about this story today because, we all pick our stories and there's 30-something pages. I didn't have Costco on my bingo card, but the more and more I'm understanding this, I want to find out why you thought this is such an important story. Because I don't go to Costco. I don't go to Sam's Club. Hell, I don't even buy yellow bananas at this point. You never know. Green bananas. But PBD, why was this story so important to you?
You know what I like? Yeah. It's kind of like because unions always been a thorn in a lot of business owners, and they slow things down and they convince the members. There are some, by the way, they started with noble ideas. Most unions started with a good idea, but then it became being ran by people that want control and power and influence. And you know what Costco is saying? We're going to overpay people that are non-union. You're non-union? I would do that. Let's just say we have 10,000 employees in Lion Holdings, say, a few years from now. And all of a sudden, we're going to go out there and be union. Really? Yeah, we're going to pay more to the non-union people. Really? Yes. If you're going to go there, I'm going to do this to these guys. Go ahead and do it. because union is just difficult to work with. And the speed of companies' growth, sometimes they get in the way. They make a lot of noise. They turn people against the company. They become about themselves. It becomes very challenging for them to do that. And by the way, look at the teachers union. How are they? Look at the tenure. Who's that benefiting? Look at all these other. How many? What are they doing? They're now big mobs that are controlled by the Democratic Party that are getting the votes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I think I like what Costco is doing, and I would like to see other businesses see this playbook. And when people say we're going to do this, no problem. I'm going to pay more for non-union than union. I'm going to give better benefits to non-union than union. I'm going to get more vacation time to non-union than union. You want to do that? This is what we're going to be doing to the non-union people.
Why haven't companies done this before?
I'm sure they have, but Costco is doing it at a larger scale where other people are
It's
seeing
like what Byron Donald said last week. He goes, the people in my office want to unionize. Nope, not happening. I'm the boss here. And then we went down the list of how many Democratic politicians' staff unionized, right? It's very interesting.
Yeah.
So unions, for the most part, were a necessity back in the day. At this point, they're more of a pain, a thorn in the side of most companies.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's go to the next story here. How about we do a sports story? That's kind of interesting, okay?
Ooh.
Mavs Luca Doncic headed to the Lakers on blockbuster trade for Anthony Davis, which is kind of very weird because while you hear this story, you're thinking LeBron knew, which people close to the story say LeBron had no clue. You would think the NBA, a lot of people in the space of, Rob, we have to put the pages in. I can't find anything now with this. Truly, I can't find any of the pages. Is it cut off? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it cut off.
Okay,
top,
so anyway, so there's a lot of stories of what's going on here.
No. Go to,
I would like to be able to go to the end. Honestly, I don't. Just give me the page. I'll go to it. Okay. So Luca Doncic traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the Lakers on a blockbuster deal for Anthony Davis. Doncic and a couple other guys will join LeBron, while Davis and Max Christie are going to play with Kyrie Irving, and they're on the other side. The Utah Jazz are also involved. Doncic, a three-time All-NBA first-team selection, has averaged 28.6 per game over his career, and he's only 25 years old, third NBA history, behind only Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain. He's ahead of LeBron. He's ahead of Kobe at 25. He was a third in MVP voting last season. Took his team to the finals, averaging 34 points a game, 10 assists a game, 9 rebounds a game, including a historic 73-point game against Atlanta, okay? Davis, a 10-time All-Star, going to on the other side. Here's what's going on, folks. This is what's kind of crazy about this. If he would have stayed with the Mavs, he was about to sign a $345 million super contract, 5 years.
Supermax, yeah.
Supermax.
Jeez.
Going to L.A. can no longer give him that contract. The biggest contract they can give him now is $230. $116 million less. And this is the craziest part. Anthony Davis just closed a house in Bel Air for $32 million. And guess what? Luca just closed a house for $12 or $15 million in Dallas. Both of them are saying, I'm staying here. And then behind closed doors, this trade happens. Lots of different stories. Nico and Pelinka are friends, so the conversation was being had without anybody else knowing about it. There's another story that's being talked about in here that's kind of very strange. If you go to Luca, his rookie year, Rob, type in Luca Doncic weight rookie year. Luca Doncic weight rookie year. Weight rookie year was 228, 230 is what I think he looked like his rookie year. 230. Can you put on an image? Go to the image. This is what he looked like his rookie year. Okay, there's actually better pictures that show how slender he was and how skinny he was. Okay, then today, Luca Doncic weight today. Okay. Type in Luca Doncic weight today, and you see how much he weighs today. You ready for this, Vinny? Do you know what he weighs today? 277
40 pounds.
You know who he's bigger than of? He is bigger than the San Francisco 49er, Bosa. What's the guy's name?
Nick Bosa?
He's bigger than Bosa.
Holy crap. And could shoot lights out.
Bosa's 265. This guy's 277. No, and he's been injury prone all year. So apparently, rumor has it they were worried about him being the next Zion. And they're kind of saying, we're not giving this guy the Supermax contract. The Mavs were worried. They traded him. They got somebody like Davis. This guy doesn't play defense. There's a lot of things that's going on with this year. Adam, I know you got a lot of friends in the NBA yourself. What are your thoughts on what's going on here?
I looked into this. I think the weight is one thing, his conditioning is one thing. But listen, he plays games. So, I mean, like, he's on the court. He made it to the NBA Finals last year. I know that they obviously lost to the Celtics. But I think follow the money. If you never know what's going on, follow the money. I think what have we seen transpire in the last basically 2 years in Dallas? Mark Cuban is no longer the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. It is now Miriam Adelson, the widower of Sheldon Adelson, the casino magnate. And then I believe her son or son-in-law is running the team. Great name, by the way. Patrick is his name.
Love
Patrick, Google his last name. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's not Adelson, though. He's the governor of the Mavs at this point, and he sits on the NBA Board of Governors. By the way, Mark Cuban owns 27% of the team. Patrick Dumont, there he is right there. The Adelsons, I believe, own 70%, I want to say. Cuban owned 27%. Mark Cuban apparently had no idea this was going on. Now, I don't know who the GM is. You can find that as, but I know the head coach of the Mavericks is none other than Jason Kidd. Luca, Jason Kidd, similar kind of games, although Luca's a way better scorer, way better shooter, although...
Why do you think this is happening? That's
so
the question.
Why do I
Why
think
do you
this is happening? I think it's something that we talk about in business. So we saw what happened during COVID, and who had more power, the employees or the employer during COVID?
Employees.
The employees.
No question about it.
Right? We talked about the other day. Who's taking power back now?
Employers.
The employers. So I think what's happening is, because there's stories that are resurfacing, is that a lot of NBA owners are having conversations with NFL owners. And they're like, oh, hold on. So you don't have guaranteed contracts. Got it. So if a guy is not performing, you can just cut that guy. Right. Okay. So if he's injured and only plays half a season, what do? You don't have to pay the full salary? Interesting. Got it. So I think a lot of NBA owners, because there's guaranteed contracts in the NBA. I remember when Chris Bosh signed a contract with the Heat after LeBron left. He signed a contract 5 years, 100-something million, never played another game for the Heat. He had health issues. What? In the NFL, you had the quarterback Kirk Cousins. He went from Minnesota to Washington. He signed a ridiculous mega deal. No, not Washington. Where was he on now? Atlanta. Signed a mega deal. Midway through the season, they're like, dude, you suck. You're out. They put in a rookie. So in the NFL, you can cut bait from an NFL contract when you want. So I think this is NBA owners sort of like taking ownership and saying, nah, I don't know. At the end of the day, do you know who's going to be the MVP of the league? My prediction this year? Who do you think is going to be the MVP of the NBA?
The tall, huge guy that you were talking about.
Wemby?
No. Who do you think is going to be the MVP? Rob, Google it, but don't show it yet.
It's probably going to be the Shy, or it's going to
Bingo.
be... Yeah, he's going to be the MVP.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah. That's my prediction.
He's a monster.
By the way, does anybody even know his name?
Nope.
These two guys probably never heard of him.
He's a monster. I watched him play.
Fan.
He's ridiculous.
Okay. Do you know that his stats as a for the last 5 years have been better than Luca's? But everyone knows Luca because, dare I say,
but I tell you something.
He's a raw white boy.
Let me tell you something here. I believe Mark Cuban didn't know. You know, Mark Cuban and I, we're not eye to eye on anything. I could easily use this as an opportunity to say anything about the guy. I'm not. I think he's a very good owner, okay? And I think guys like playing for him. And I think guys like taking less money just to stay with him because he took care of them. You have the perfect example of what happened with Dirk. So I don't think this is a Cuban thing. I actually think he's probably shell-shocked that this is taking place. I think he sold 72% of it. I just think this guy's got a weight issue. And honestly, as an owner myself, I would be saying, dude, I'm done with players like this that are not taking care of them. My contract writing abilities would change. I wouldn't own an NBA team at all if I was in the game. What happened, Tom?
Nothing. I'm agreeing.
Go ahead, Tom.
No,
I know. Go ahead. Go.
I'm not an NBA guy.
No, I'm saying go ahead. I know you want to say stuff. Go for it. I'm going to go to you next. What's your story on Luca? What do you think about it?
I was just listening to you guys. I was reacting. I
Tom,
don't have
just
anything.
Tom, give us your insight.
I know you have thoughts.
Tom.
You follow sports. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the second guy there, instead of being MVP, he won the French Open. But the
French Open, Nikola Jokic.
No, he's
the reigning MVP of the league.
I guess I do have a thought, and the thought that I have is that, you know,
Come on, Tom, you got this.
How many situations do you go with where this has been on the table? Shaq would run up and down the court yelling at, saying, "Pay me," in the middle of the game. He would yell, "Pay me." He would get like 25 points, and he was yelling, "Pay me." And then you had Kobe in a very famous interview commented about that if Shaq's conditioning had been better, he could have won 10, 11 championships. And so conditioning has been out there on the table in a lot of ways. And I think that there's something to be said here. And he hasn't played since Christmas. He suffered a strain that I read a little blurb on that they says, was that conditioning related? Was it weight related? Was it a calf? He turned differently. And so I don't know.
Tom. So I actually want to give the flip side to this because we're only talking about one side of the equation here. He got traded. He didn't get traded for some slouch. He got traded for Anthony Davis, arguably the best big man in the league.
32 years old.
Okay. So he's still at the prime of his career. So if we're going to come there and say that Luca is out of shape and he can't get on the court, Anthony Davis, a fantastic top 10 talent, literally is injured half the year.
By the way, somebody said something. Somebody said something very
what?
You're going to like this story here. Somebody said there's a dark conspiracy going on here, you know.
You say that C word.
I hate that word.
We don't like that word, but there's a dark, thing going on here, coincidence going on here. And here's what it is. Let me tell you what it is. Some are saying that Clutch Sports, LeBron, they indirectly created a situation where Kyrie would go to Dallas to drive Luca insane for Luca to leave, to have issues between them, for Luca to come to Lakers because LeBron wants Luca. Now, as much as I read into that, I'm like, dude, these guys don't even match up well. They're the same exact player.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like it makes zero sense. Yeah, you said that. Yeah. It makes zero sense on this going on. And then there's a couple other stories, but I'll stay at this one.
You want to go down that C word right now?
Don't say it.
Here we go. What are the chances that LeBron leaves the Lakers after the season? The whole Bronny experiment is obviously a disaster.
Oh, it's horrible.
LeBron goes bye-bye, maybe goes and does a retirement tour, one last year in Cleveland, and then the Lakers rebuild around Luca, and then secretly, I think the Lakers ownership says there's this guy, Patrick Bet-David, there's a massive fan of the Lakers. Now he hates on the Lakers. We got to get LeBron out of here. What if this were a way to get PBD, part minority owner of the Yankees, to go buy Coastal and start going to Lakers games?
I will root for the
rooting
Lakers.
for Luca.
Yeah.
Am I wrong on that?
But you have to realize Luca's hero is LeBron. Luca's a LeBron guy. And the fact that he's working with them, the one area that we can criticize LeBron as much as I can criticize. You guys are fans. I know you're a diehard fan of LeBron.
Yeah, I love LeBron.
Yeah, I can criticize LeBron, but there's one thing you can't criticize on. He's 40 years old, and he's in shape, and he's killing it, and he can help Luca get in shape. So the same way LeBron played Olympics with Kobe and learned what it is to really train, I hope Luca picks up what it is to train, because Luca at 230, he's a formidable guy. And anyways, to all the people that could care less about sports, we like sports. And to those of you guys that like sports, thank you for sticking around and enjoying this sport. I don't really care. It's a great story. All right, let's go to the next one here. Rob, can you pull up Don Lemon and Kanye West when they went on a date at not on a date, but they were at the Grammys? Watch this here. Don Lemon and is this the one, Rob, or is it first show the clip of Lemon trying to?
This is the first clip, and then the second one is Don Lemon reacting.
Go for it.
Kanye, the number one artist you want to put on right now? Give me a second, I'm focused.
Thank you.
His wife is about to take her clothes off.
No interviews. No interviews.
All right, so what does he say afterwards?
First of all, Kanye.
Nobody's listening.
Ye, whatever your name is. I did not start a rumor about you being kicked out of the Grammys. I actually corrected it. I saw someone on your team who asked me to correct it because it had been reported everywhere. So, first of all, get your shit straight. And you, of all people, calling me a coon?
Oh my God.
Negro.
Oh God.
That Make America Great Again hat must be too tight on your head.
Can I ask you a question? Where is his husband? If you're a happily married gay man, you guys should be in parades, dancing and hooking up with each other. This guy's in front of, what is he doing?
Hold on, what? Don Lemon's gay?
He's gay. You didn't know that?
Don Lemon.
By the way, so what happened there, Rob? What is the story? I don't want to spend a lot of time on this if it's not really a story. What is
according to, because Kanye showed up to the Grammys with his wife in that revealing outfit. According to Kanye, Don Lemon started a rumor that Kanye was escorted out of the Grammys because of the outfit. Kanye then went on social media, called out Don Lemon. Don Lemon then responds with that video.
All right, so and then what the real story isn't Don Lemon. The real story is what Kanye's wife was wearing, right? Can you, or what she wasn't wearing? Can you even show it or no?
I can show you guys. Please, in the back, do not show this at home.
By the way, can you show one with black, what do you call it? Like the black bars? Not the other black bar, because there's a famous picture of a guy with black. I'm talking about.
I don't want to see that one.
Let me see if I can.
Adam loves sending that one.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, there it is. There's a blurry one right there, Rob. The bottom right, bottom right.
Captain Tribe
right there. Okay, so that's the picture.
Yeah, I mean this.
So, by the way, was she literally naked?
It was a see-through. She basically was butt naked, but there was like a see-through, tan-colored fishnet, like.
This is what they do, though, Pat. This
he's a Christian. That's what Christians do.
This is what
bring
they
their
do.
butt-naked wife out.
He basically parades her around. One time he brought her around in a pillow. Look at the pillow thing in Europe. And I think the London fashion show or the Paris fashion show, whatever it is. He just parades her around. And, there she is. That's what she has to do. She's relegated to just being naked everywhere she goes.
I just don't
How much
get
money
it.
has Kanye lost in the last 2 years?
And he's still a billionaire, though, isn't he?
No, I think he's definitely not a billionaire anymore.
I just don't like the look, bro. If
Are you with it, or what do you think about it, Tom? I know you were watching the Grammys closely. What was your reaction when you saw this?
Look, the red carpet has been a place to be more daring, more ridiculous. Lady Gaga shows up with guys carrying her like with an Egyptian, shoulder bench, and she's in an egg. I mean, come on. It's just everybody's being more and more shocking because it's called publicity and it's called attention. And so Kanye, for reasons known only to Kanye, yeah, there it is. There we go. A bunch of guys here carrying around, and that's Lady Gaga was in an egg. So you do things that are trying to get attention for yourself. There's nothing revealing about this. This is just kind of crazy, and she pops out of the egg. But that's the point. The point of the red carpet is to get views and to be the most amazing
Tom,
person.
you may be a fan of this stuff. I'm not.
Tom loves it.
Just telling you,
I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and then the media gives these celebrities a voice during the election to tell us who to vote for.
Seriously.
Let's think about that.
Did you watch the Grammys?
And then George Stephanopoulos says, Lady Gaga, who should America vote for? Swifties, who should you vote for? Really? We're asking these people to give us advice on
I don't
anything?
know why you watch the Grammys, though, but for me,
I haven't watched one Grammy,
Alicia
one
Keys
Oscar.
said, DEI.
DEI is the best thing that's ever happened.
Right.
Or what do you mean? The greatest reaction, I don't know if Rob can find it. Beyonce won Country Album of the Year, and you should have seen her face. She was like,
oh, wow. She's like, I didn't even do country.
Like the spit in the face of actual country singers. Look at her face, right in the middle one, Rob, up right there. Look at her face. Look at Jay-Z. I won what?
I had no idea she even did it.
What are we even talking about, bro? Unbelievable.
Would love to hear what the other country singers. By the way, as far as Kanye goes,
he's worth $2.7 billion.
No, because you got to read a little bit further.
I don't like to read.
Clearly, he was worth approximately $2 billion right here. However, following a series of controversies, yada, 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 we know what happened there, it dropped to around $400 million. He has now claimed, so if you believe Kanye, that he's now worth even more than before at $2.7 billion. But independent studies conducted by Forbes estimate that his net worth is now $400 million. So basically, it's decreased approximately $1.6 billion. So what's the point? He's doing these publicity stunts because he's trying to get his name back out there. But what is Kanye known for? Making music, making hits.
The best.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe you got his tennis shoes. Maybe you got some Yeezys. I don't know.
Top 5.
But until he actually makes hits again, I think Kanye's on the decline.
By the way, a story just came out that Vinny sent to us here. Watch this.
Tom?
RFK has just been approved by the Senate Finance Committee as the next Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Let's go, baby. 14 to 13
advancing
moving
his
forward.
nomination to a full Senate vote.
Let's
Here we
go,
go.
So
baby.
it's not confirmed yet.
No, but it
he's
is
moving
for-
forward.
No, but
yeah,
that's
it's
step
going-
one. That's
That's the most important step.
actually that's more like step 3. Now
That's step
he's
3.
standing on third base. Are they going to
Yeah.
score with 50 votes?
Yeah, 14 to 1.
See,
Good
now
for
Tom
him.
knows his sports. There knows baseball.
I am
Tom was
so
waiting for it,
freaking
saying
happy
something.
for
He
this
just
guy.
Gave me the eye that he does when he wants to say something. Go
Yeah.
play this clip.
Second, the clerk will call the roll.
Stop.
Mr. Grassley. Mr.
You act
Grassley.
very
Aye.
innocent.
Mr. Cornyn.
That's the oldest guy in the
Mr.
Senate.
Cornyn. Aye. Mr. Thune. Mr. Thune. Aye. Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott. Aye. Mr. Cassidy. Mr. Cassidy. Aye. Mr. Langford. Mr. Langford. Aye. Mr. Daines. Mr. Daines. Aye. Mr. Young. Mr. Young. Aye. Mr. Barrasso. Mr. Barrasso. Aye. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson. Aye. Mr. Tillis. Mr. Tillis. Aye. Mrs. Blackburn. Mrs. Blackburn. Aye. Mr. Marshall. Mr. Marshall. Aye. Mr. Wyden.
No.
Mr. Wyden. No. Ms. Cantwell. No. Ms. Cantwell. No. Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett. No. Mr. Warner. Mr. Warner. No. Mr. Whitehouse. Mr. Whitehouse. No. Miss Hassan. Miss Hassan. No. Miss Cortez Masto.
Here comes
Miss
Pocahontas.
Cortez Masto. No. Miss Warren. Miss Warren. No. Mr. Sanders. Mr. Sanders. No. Miss Smith. Miss Smith. No.
Look at these
Mr.
guys.
Lujan. Mr. Lujan. No. Mr. Warnock.
No.
Mr. Warnock. No. Mr. Welch. Mr. Welch. No. Mr. Chairman. Chairman votes aye.
Let's go, baby.
So along party lines. is
Mr.
what
Chairman, the
this says.
final tally is 14 ayes, 13 nays.
That is so freaking.
Can't hear you, buddy.
Yeah. Turn your mic on. He doesn't know.
Is he saying anything or no?
Yeah, look. Yeah, he's in charge.
The vote was. Would the clerk please restate the vote? Mr. Chairman, the final tally was 14 ayes, 13 nays. The vote was 14-13. The nomination is reported favorably. We will now turn to other senators who would like to make a statement. Since I asked my Republican colleagues to hold off at the outset, I'll go to the Republican side next. First, Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I voted aye today, and I want to just briefly explain
Can
why.
I ask you a question? How many, like the big pharma, the major companies, Pfizer, are they flipping out right now? Are they making phone calls to Pocahontas and Bernie Sanders? And they're like, what the hell are you guys doing? He's going to take $1 trillion away from these people. I'm so happy for him. Mind you, this is the same guy, RFK Jr., the same guy that's trying to get employment from the same system that some people might say murdered his uncle and his freaking father. That is I'm so freaking proud of him. Good for him. That's freaking awesome news, Tom. That's amazing.
I agree. I think this is awesome, but I also think this is going to be tough. It's going to be similar to Pete, where I think you're going to need J.D. Vance. I think this is going to come down like that.
Yo, really?
Yep.
Now, you know what I just did to Tom? What he does to me. Here's what Tom does to me, because you guys don't see it.
All right.
Tom, this is what Tom does.
Can they show a shot?
Okay.
I apologize.
Do me a favor.
On the
This
NBA,
is-
I wasn't doing
No,
that.
Tom, stop. You know you were Tom.
I'll tell a story.
They're gonna think- By the way, zoom in on his face. Say, look at Tom.
I wasn't
Tom,
trying
we
to
played
interfere
poker
in the
one
NBA.
night.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom wants his fan base to say, stop being rude
Yeah.
to Tom.
So
He
you want
is
me-
the best.
Oh, no, I get
So
it.
you want me to
Yeah,
start
from
telling the
Tom's
story?
friends.
Yeah, so you
I
tell
think
a story.
no.
I'm going to be Tom.
I'm going to start telling the story about
When Tom really wants to say something. By
okay.
the way, in the back, when you guys ever catch him doing it, do it. Zoom in on him when he does this. Go
Okay,
ahead.
and I'll start talking about my recovery or what I'm not drinking. So, Pat, I haven't been drinking, so I figured like all these companies, Pat, I'm trying to tell this, all these companies, alcohol companies, I think they promote on the commercial.
Oh my God, he does
See the
sound
face? Let me see the face.
Listen, by the way, can Rob, can you bring that button? We bought this button just for Tom. The audience has to know this.
I wouldn't be able
Because this button is bought just for Tom.
Oh my
that
God,
moving
that's so
forward, I don't
freaking
have to
I'm
get
not
the
trying to
eyes.
make a distraction.
So here's what we're doing. Can you see it? So moving forward, this is just for Tom. We're gonna call this a Tom button. Tom gets to press the button without doing his eyes, and this thing turns red. And I know Tom wants to say something.
That's
okay?
so funny.
And so it's just going to be like that movie. We know what Adam's going to be on. Adam's always going to be on.
Oh, it's just all
Adam
on.
always wants to say something, and he'll have plus 5 minutes on it to ask for additional minutes.
Shot
But
clock,
anyways,
after
yeah.
the shot clock.
All right, so let's get into the next story
so
here.
freaking funny.
Tom, everything good? Are you going to be okay? All right.
I wasn't trying
I wish his
to.
eyes get that big.
Honestly, bro, I have big eyes, but when Tom does that,
I
it's
wouldn't
like that's the look he gives when he wants to say, "You're going to time
Hey,
out."
listen, guys.
You're
Let's
going
be
to
nice
time
to our
out.
friend Tom. I won't have this.
So, Tom,
I want
this
all the
next
hate
story,
over here, guys.
I'm coming
Not on Tom.
to you, Tom. This next story. Okay? No need to do the eyes.
It's
but
okay
I'm
to
coming
talk
to you.
now? Okay.
Los Angeles law, Pacific Palisades, rebuilding include must include low-income housing is what they have to do. Now, Rob, if you got a video on this, if you can pull up the video while I find the page. Oh, I found the page. Okay, here we go. Go ahead and play the clip, Rob. Go for it.
But the most interesting element of my conversation with Mr. Giacoletti was when he talked about the possibility of, as we start rebuilding, starting to relax some of the zoning laws, especially in a more working-class neighborhood like Altadena, so that rather than putting up single-family residences, especially on parcels where people might not have the wherewithal to rebuild at all, we allow developers to start putting up duplexes and apartments. In other words, increasing density, but also increasing more housing.
Okay, so while he's saying this, watch this, folks. So rents for new low-income units will be dramatically lower than pre-fire market rates, significantly altering the area demographics. The ordinance sets low housing rent at about $2,000 a month for families earning up to $80K, and very low housing at $1,300 a month for families earning up to $50,000. All pre-1978 buildings subject to rent control must be rebuilt as affordable units, while newer buildings require proof that all tenants in the last 5 years were high income, or they will automatically be. Tell me why I should build a real estate business in Southern California. Wow. Tom, tell us the story, and I'm trying to do. Is this what we think it is, Tom, or is California completely lost their minds?
They have lost their mind. This is so what would they love to do? They would love to tax people and just keep flowing it out to the homeless population. And by the way, have Governor Newsom block the audit where they had all the dollars missing for homelessness. And they, well, let's have an audit of it. And he said, no, let's not be too hasty, because he knows where some of that waste went. And so what they're saying here is, Vinny, your house burned down.
Okay.
And they're like, you know what? You're in Altadena. We're going to declare your area a working class area. And so you can't rebuild your house. You have to rebuild like a 4-unit townhouses, 4 of them together. You have to rebuild that. Why? Because we need lower cost housing, and it'll only cost people $2,000 a month to stay in that housing. So you're not going to be rebuilding it because we're rezoning it.
This is legal, Tom? Like my house burned down, my single family house burned down, and now you're telling me, do I have insurance to build again?
Yeah, maybe you've got insurance,
okay,
and maybe your insurance had ALE,
okay,
rider, which means alternative living expenses,
okay,
where they pay for your hotel or temporary housing while your home is being rebuilt. By the way, that could be very expensive. That could take a long time. And by the way, there's a little side note in there that maybe some of the insurance companies would rather that you sell your property to a developer than you use your ALE.
Oh, man.
Get it?
Got it.
So I'm paying ALE for you so that you could go live someplace while your house is being rebuilt, or you're waiting for a permit and all these things are going on. And you finally get your home rebuilt because you had extra money. You somehow managed to do it. You pulled it off. Meanwhile, developer comes to your twin brother and says, hey, I'll just buy your land for $1.5 million in Altadena. I'll bet you have a good lot. I'll just pay $1.5 million for that and we'll build it. You may just say, I'll take the 1.5, I'll save it, and then I'll go rent something somewhere. Meanwhile, your twin brother says, no, maybe I do just want to rebuild. And they say, no. The new zoning that we have here is we need more low-income housing. Why? Because homelessness is the problem. We've wasted our $24 billion, and we need more housing. So this is basically, think of it this way. They just taxed your previous house down to zero. They stole the house from you, forcing you to take whatever you could get from the people buying the land so a developer could build 4 low-income homes.
So then, Tom, give me the argument why developers are staying in California.
Well, certain developers are staying in California because thanks to things like this, they've got something to do. Because they're just like, the developer looks at it, man, I'm glad. This is what I would do. I'll be devil's advocate. I will be a developer. You know what, man, I am so glad my digs in Encino didn't burn down, but I'm going to be building in Altadena. I'm going to be building these 4-unit townhomes, 4 of them in a row. I got 3 of these people bought the land. I bought the land. I got 12 of them being built, and the city is requiring that I do it this way. So I'm going to sell 12 units. I just bought the land. So the developers can stay in business just building what the city says they need to build, and then the developers will sell to an investor who then has to rent them, but not at rent above a certain level for low income. This is just California knows how to force. I'll sum it up this way. California forces. By 2030, you must buy a non-diesel truck. You must. So we're going to force that. By 2030, some percent of cars must be electric vehicles. Wait, I thought we didn't have enough power plant. And the PG&E stuff, we're arcing and starting some of these fires. We're not worried about that. Don't interrupt me. You must have an electric vehicle. So California is in the must. The dictatorial state of socialist California has now come to housing.
Wow.
Basically, Canada's leadership would rather rule over ashes than let the other side rule the state. California's.
Yeah, you said Canada. California.
Okay. Canada too, by the way.
Yeah. And by the way, while
Quebec,
this is going on,
Quebec, you're
while
right.
this is going on, there's another story about California that I'm trying to find. There's another story on California about, if you have the pages, there's a story on California on the water where Trump says he opened California's water. Local officials say he nearly flooded them. Rob, I know we don't have a clip on this, but I'm going to go to the story to read. If you can find, if there's any clips on this, here's what happened with Trump and California. President Trump declared a long-fought victory in California water disputes, claiming today 1.6 billion, and in 3 days, gallons, by the way, and in 3 days, it'll be 5.2 billion gallons, but local officials scrambled to prevent potential flooding after the Army Corps of Engineers, citing Trump's executive order, attempted to release water from 2 reservoirs at maximum capacity with just an hour notice. I've been here 25 years, and I've never been given notice that quick, said Victor Hernandez, who oversees water management on Kaweah River. Trump falsely blamed, what story is this? Politico. Yeah. The recent LA wildfires on California's water policy. Stop it. Insisting the state had mismanaged resources despite reservoirs being near historic levels. The reservoir is closed. There's no water in it a mile away from Palisades. This is Politico writing this. The Army Corps claimed water releases from Lake and Success Lake were meant to ensure California has water available to respond to the wildfires, though officials question how water 200 miles away could aid firefighting. Adam, your thoughts on this?
I haven't even followed this story a little bit.
Okay, so Tom, your thoughts on this?
Trump did the right thing because California has been holding water because they have this little fish that they want to protect.
Smelt.
And by the way, what does it say about those reservoirs? Those reservoirs were at maximum capacity, which means that the winter snow was good. The runoff has come down, and that's usually from the Sierras, the Western Sierras. That's usually what fills up the Northern California reservoirs. And by the way, Pat and I did a lot of business in Bakersfield and in Fresno and Visalia. And you know what's right next to I-5? The California Aqueduct, which is this huge man-made.
When you drive it,
It's a concrete river. So they say, water 200 miles away. They built an aqueduct like Rome did to go from Northern California to Southern California years and years and years ago for exactly this purpose, to bring water from mountains and snow and melting in spring down to other parts. They did it. And instead, they limited, and then in Northern California, they were letting excess run right into the Pacific Ocean. And so Trump is like, wait, you're collecting it in reservoirs up there, and then later you let it run into the ocean? No, why don't you release it down here and just let it go? So this is California's water management is as poorly run as their power management, which is as poorly run as their, real estate management. And this is California. I mean, how many ways do you need to have theoretical bureaucrats who have never run or built anything in their life, running the 6th largest economy in the world and doing it badly on so many levels? These people would be, if this was a public company, they and the board and all of them would be fired, and they'd be suffering a shareholder's suit for diminution of value.
And they keep voting.
Diminution of value.
That's a fantastic word.
Right. So
can I be 100% honest with you? I have no idea what that word means.
Diminution of value is a legal term used to calculate damages when a property or item loses value due to an accident, breach of contract, or other event.
In that regard, I concur. I concur 100% with what Tom said.
So the root word is diminish. So diminution,
listen,
is that how you say it?
By the way,
Tom?
The ideas they're coming up with, all I'm thinking and all I'm asking myself is, how many of these ideas are going to force people in California to say, I'm done? What will it take for many of them to flip on policies, or else this is going to continue? This is not going to stop anytime soon. By the way, CBS News was forced to fork over edited Harris interview that Trump called out. They eventually had to force to send it over, and this is what the clip was. We've all remembered this, and I got to read a little bit more about this. This was the clip, and I'll tell you more about what's going on here. Go ahead, Rob.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Okay, so
that is atrocious.
That's right. So watch this.
The first one, she didn't even say anything.
CBS News, owned by Paramount, has been ordered to release the unedited transcript footage of Vice President Kamala Harris' October interview on 60 Minutes after President Trump sued the network for $10 billion, alleging purposeful editing to harm him from the November 6th election. Trump-appointed FCC Chairman Brandon Carr reopened the Center for American Rights complaint, which had been dismissed 4 days before Trump's second inauguration. CBS stated it would comply with the inquiry as we are legally compelled to do so. Trump took offense to Harris's response on the Israel-Hamas conflict, claiming CBS News doctored the footage to misrepresent him. A Face the Nation preview showed Harris giving what was called a word salad answer, but 60 Minutes aired a different portion of her response. CBS News defended the edit, says the same question, same answer, but time constraints requires a cut. And meanwhile, staffers are irate over talk of Paramount settling. And so this whole thing that's taking place, a CBS correspondent said we're helpless to whatever Shari and the bosses decide to do, but it's a real shame to think the news division is bargaining chip in the broader deal. CBS executive, including CEO Wendy McMahon and 60 Minutes executive producer Billy Owens, not the old Golden State guy, but different Bill Owens,
great player,
oppose a settlement, fearing it would damage the show's reputation and demoralize staff. A court filing suggests the settlement talk may be underway as Trump's attorneys requested a deadline extension for responding to CBS's motion to dismiss.
Is that the only clip? Is that the one clip, or is there multiple clips?
Well, that's the clip, but
is that the only one that they basically did?
Well, that's the clip.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, you know,
okay, but that was atrocious.
Because you know what that's considered.
She gave like a complete word salad.
And you know what that's considered?
What?
Election interference. That's what the problem is. And can we just point out one thing? How much more can Trump win? Okay, the biggest losers in corporate America, Meta, ABC, and soon to be CBS. Okay, they spent years censoring Trump, smearing his name, and now they're all going to be cutting freaking fat-ass checks. Like, for instance, Meta, they banned him after January 6th, Tom, and guess what? $25 million. Bingo. ABC, George Stephanopoulos said libel, rape, that whole situation, $15 million. Boom. And now CBS is sweating bullets, Pat, because that $10 billion lawsuit hanging over their head is like a guillotine because their parent company's begging the FCC to approve their merger. Who's in charge of the FCC now? Trump's people. There you go. So now it's like, oh, please settle, and let them all cry, bro. Let them all cry.
Yeah.
It's not about, guys, it's not about Trump. It's about the media thinking that they could slander and do whatever the hell they want with no consequences. But now, one by one, they're all going to freaking pay the price, and all their tails are between their legs. Good for them. Good.
Well, there is a subtext here. And so when they say, we're helpless to whatever that's Sherry Redstone, and the bosses decide to do. It's real shame to think the news is the bargaining chip. They need the Federal Trade Commission and the FCC to approve the sale of Paramount and all the CBS assets to Skydance. Skydance is owned by almost all owned by a man named David Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison. And so David Ellison and Skydance want to buy Paramount, and they want the deal to go through. So Sherry wants David Ellison's money because he's buying it. Sherry Redstone wants the money. How do you get the money? You got the federal government's got to approve the deal. How do you approve the deal? Federal government's upset with that. You know what we could do? We'll cooperate. And by the way, so all she's doing, she's not grandstanding. She's just cooperating with the federal government that's saying, hey, you know what? That may have been election interference. We want to see the unedited film. And CBS and you have 60 Minutes saying, we're not a bargaining chip. No. It has nothing to do with bargaining chip. It may, but you created the problem. You edited this, and you are being called to account for it. Well, they just want to play nice. Well, no. We know what CBS News wants to do? They want to be irascible, badgering, puny-minded dolts. That's what they want. They want to hold their line to say, we're the media and we're against conservative and we want to do this. And they want CBS to keep funding it and defend them, even though they did something here. So that's the subtext going on here. Sherry Redstone would like the government to be in a good mood and say, you know what? Skydance deal that can go all the way through. It's going to happen. There you go. And the only way you do that is, oh, wait, Brendan Carr was appointed by Donald Trump.
Oh, weird.
Head of the FCC.
Yep.
So guess what?
Good luck.
There's a couple things woven in between here, and Adam, I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, back to Kamala's word salad of an answer, that was a very important question because that was not one of the one or two biggest things that people were worried about in an election, but it was a major issue. What was going on in Israel and Gaza? And her answer, what was that?
You got something in your mouth?
Yeah, word salad. I put it in there for this beat right here.
What do you have in your mouth?
Little mint right here. Little word salad.
I hear the mint. I'm like, what sound is that?
Little word salad right there.
Adam, just click on the.
Adam, do you want to talk?
Click.
So yeah.
Do you have something to say?
Well, listen. As I'm motivated, you have to understand that what happened was as we entered the agreement, there was
the dissolution.
By the way, that's that almost became the president of the United States.
That's what I'm saying.
You know how like, as you guys are saying that, could you imagine where we would be right now?
If she's the president today, do you know what's going on?
Oh my God, Tom's a transgender.
Oh my God,
Tom's gone.
He's back.
Tom's trans.
They would legislate it, but
Adam straight. The whole deal.
Adam, I'll get to your point.
Yeah.
So what's going on here is that she was making a comment about one of the key issues on a world stage, and she gave a word salad answer, leading you to say, that's all you've got to say about Gaza and Israel and that war? That's the leadership you show?
Let me ask you this.
That's important.
How did Trump learn that wasn't the answer?
I mean, it was all over the internet. But somebody leaked. I think somebody leaked
But Rob,
it.
how did they find out?
He's probably smart enough to know that she can't answer the question that way.
I mean,
I'm actually asking a serious question. How did they find out that was not?
If I'm not mistaken,
the answer. How was that leaked?
I think
someone internally must have said something.
Had to have said something.
Right? They're like,
Look,
by the way, she
a
did
staffer
not say
had to
that.
be like, no, she didn't say that, and then they leaked it on because it was on
They had
X.
someone
quick.
on the inside.
Yeah, it was on X
Yeah.
quick.
You have someone on the inside.
Legal team.
Would it be someone at the FCC? No.
No.
After
It wouldn't be like
differences
that.
between the.
Well, Tom, what did
What's it say, Rob?
After observing differences between a preview clip and the full broadcast, President Trump's legal team became aware of potential editing discrepancies.
Wow. That's good on his team. Going, wait a minute, she didn't say that.
Yeah, by the way, the interview lasted 45 minutes, but it was edited down to a 20-minute segment for broadcast. So they chopped out 25 other minutes.
But by the way,
other minutes of word salad.
That's not a big deal. No. That they do that often. So that is not the 60 minutes model. Is they get as much content as they can to cut it for the segment that they can put it to sell airtime, right? That's what they have to do. That's the business model. That's not the part. But imagine I ask you a question, Vinny, with your background as a comedian, some are questioning the fact that you are not qualified to be the governor of the state of Florida. What do you say to those critics?
Kiss my tush.
Okay. So then I say, Vinny, I love that answer.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. We want to help you win.
Okay.
Can you change the answer and say a different kind of an answer? And matter of fact, we have a writer here that can give you some suggestions on ways to answer. We want, of course, we need it to be yours because you're a leader.
Okay.
Here's some ideas and for you to consider. So you read them and you think, okay, so let me try one more time.
Go ahead.
You know, hey, Vincent,
Yes.
you know, a lot of your critics are saying that your background as a former comedian, and there's been skits of you, doing some interesting, funny skits, questionable skits. Yeah. Some say you're not qualified to be a governor because of your background. What do you say to those critics?
Well, first I say that comedians are technically modern-day philosophers. So I have a philosophy background. I dig deep. Yeah, I'm funny, but I have a very, very serious side. And listen, I'm all about, the state of Florida. I want to make it grow. I want to make it, great again.
That makes sense, and that's exactly what we thought you were going to say.
Thank you.
I mean, that's kind of like
that felt good. Can we keep that one?
That's the part. That's kind of in essence. Hey, let's use something else and look at. But go back to that clip.
And then we edit it this way. We also ask you, what do you think of if you were to meet Vladimir Putin? What would you say? And then our editor goes, "Hey, this will be funny. We're going to put the kiss my tush answer right after that."
Yeah, that's so freaking.
All right, so let's go to the next story here. Next story I want to go to is. The DNC, right? Ken Martin wins election as the next DNC chair, and a gun control young guy, David Hogg, was elected as the chair of the DNC, vice chair of the DNC. So they're trying to regroup and come out with a new strategy to win the young voters over, and this is their face. Go ahead, Rob. Play this clip.
Are you ready to go on the offense? Are you ready to go on the offense? We have to win back our young people. I am the only candidate in this race for any of these positions that is under 30. We had a 20-point shift to the right of our young people. We must show our young people we give a damn about them, that we support them, and we invest in them.
What, you know who that is behind
over
him?
$11 million in the past year.
She was on a podcast 2.5 years ago.
The future of our party.
This looks what this looks like? It looks like
Charlie Bird.
No, you know what this looks like?
What?
I'm saying just like visually, I thought this was a sketch. It's like a Dave Chappelle show fake. I thought it was a fake sketch. It's David Hogg. You guys know who David Hogg is, though, right?
Tell us.
David Hogg,
Stoneman Douglas.
Right.
Well, yeah. He is Mr. Bait himself. He wants. This is what he said in the past that he wants. Tweets and all that stuff. Abolish ICE, defund the police, and designate the NRA as a terrorist group. And he's an anti-gun activist. In 2023, he posted, "You have no right to have a gun." That's that guy, okay? And because you know what this was all going on, right? This is the DNC winter meetings where they select all their leadership. They discuss strategy, upcoming election cycle, and they set priorities for fundraising and all that type of stuff. Now, you would think after the shellacking that just happened with this election, they would learn their lesson. Okay, but it didn't happen. They're doubling down on their race baiting, gender identity, sexuality. This is a clip. This is a montage. You have to watch at least half of this. I thought that this was insane. This is their leadership demanding the DNC elect. Well, the first one's the non-binary one, but this is how they're kicking it off with their speakers, Rob. Could you imagine being in this audience? Play this clip.
Hello, Democrats. Hey, I am speaking. And I would love your attention. There is a black woman at this podium, and I deserve your attention like the 11 people who went before me. Yes, I am speaking.
Good evening, Democrats. Look up here.
Oh, God.
3 strong black women standing before you.
No, watch.
3 black women who, rather than just grabbing a chair, ran for chair.
Te quiero mucho,
oh my.
Papa. Gracias por todo.
She's gonna have a heart attack.
My name is Artie Blanco, Freddie Blanco's daughter. Vote for me for vice chair.
Benny Blanco?
Yeah, Benny from the Bronx.
From the Bronx?
Watch. This is
the Democratic Party. We are our strongest when we stand together.
We are in a time in this country when our democracy and our rights are under attack. We're at a time where black and brown people, women, and other minorities are being blamed for everything that's wrong with this country.
So
what the hell?
For a stronger and more inclusive Democratic Party.
What?
Good afternoon, DNC.
Oh my God.
Let me say something. Over the last several days, we've seen what happens when we have the wrong people in powerful places.
Oh, God.
And so today, I ask for your support in electing me as your DNC vice
Rob, pause
chair
this. And now, okay, are you ready for this? So race baiting, all that stuff. This one takes the cake. Okay, this guy is a DNC official demanding that the DNC elect non-binary person for the leadership position. Can you imagine being in this room?
Jamie Harrison?
Yeah, go ahead. Look the clip.
Our rules specify that when we have a gender non-binary candidate or officer, the non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced.
I don't even.
Results of the previous elections, our elected officers at this point are currently 2 male and 2 female.
We need a non-binary.
In order to be gender balanced, we must add 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender.
But, by the way,
Okay, so-
and listen to me, I'm an independent. I'm in the middle. But Republicans are going to be in great shape for a very, very long time. These guys and girls are not getting the picture. How many times do you have to lose, and how are you not going to wake up? Okay, and I'm telling you right now, you know they're saying this young vote. David Hogg isn't the answer. And like, you know how Rogan and Zuckerberg and Bezos and Musk all went from Democrats to Republicans? The only hope they have, guys, Tom, and I'm being dead serious, they have to recruit somebody from the other side to come to them, or grab a young person with a crazy following. It's not David Hogg. Nobody even cares or knows who he is. They need like a Kai Cenat. They need an iShow Speed. They need somebody with a huge following that they could brainwash for years. This is not it. This is not it.
Taylor Swift didn't work.
No, it's not working. But I mean, guys, do you think that, Adam, be honest with me, is that going to work? David Hogg and everybody's racist and everybody's gender and my neutral crap. Like
there's no substance in these speeches. That's what struck me. I mean, you can be upset and we can howl at the moon and go look at these things, but there is no substance. There was no. I was listening and wondering, is one of these people, even though that they can be a caricature of themselves and be ridiculous, and they were doing a good job of that. Yeah. What's your substance? What's your platform? What do you stand for?
Nothing.
What are you doing? And that one lady, we need to attack this, attack this, attack this. Wow, it looks like she's been attacking cheeseburgers and the cheeseburgers lost.
Yeah.
So I am really shocked that there wasn't any, hey, we need to turn the page to tomorrow with the following 3 things.
Yes.
We lost our young people and we need to remind them of the following 2 things.
Yes.
That is how you build a platform and now try to change people's mind and bring it over. But I was waiting to hear like positions. There was nothing there.
I want your honest opinion. Do you think this tactic is going to do anything for them?
Well, I mean, the part like he almost, if you look at the way David Hogg was dressed, go back and see what David Hogg was dressed. He may not know this, but pull it up. Okay, do me a favor. Pull up a Charlie Kirk. Go to Charlie Kirk and go to images. Yeah. Can you do me a favor? Just go Charlie Kirk and go to images. Okay? And go to the one on bottom left. No, go to bottom. No, go back. Close that picture, Rob, if you could. Okay, and so go to the bottom left right there. Okay, zoom in, and I'll go to the David Hogg picture.
What a good comparison.
Look at that. Go back again. Go put. Can you find a way to put them side by side? Like you got to zoom. You got to make the other one slightly small. Yeah, there you go. And then make the other one slightly smaller. Yeah, make that one also slightly smaller and put them right next to each other. There you go. Look at that.
I mean,
look at that. It's almost as if he said he's going to look. He's trying to be Charlie Kirk.
That's so funny.
David Hogg is trying to be Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
But guess what? You either are or you're not.
He's not.
You can't be.
Nope.
He's the amount of hours Charlie put on going to campuses and making his arguments. His arguments are not going to work. Matter of fact, it didn't work with a young Chinese. Do you guys remember
Lily
this clip?
Tang.
Rob? Yeah, pull up
Lily
this clip, Rob, with Lily Tang. I just texted it to you like literally a minute ago. If you see it, Lily Tang, very basic. Watch this clip here. Okay, play this clip.
Hi, my name is Lily Tang Williams. Welcome to my live free or die state.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I am a Chinese immigrant who survived communism.
Yep.
And under Mao, 40 million people were starving to death after he sold the communism to them. And 20 million people died, murdered during his Cultural Revolution. So my question to you, David, is that can you guarantee me, a gun owner tonight, our government in the U.S., in D.C., will never become a tyrannical government? Can you guarantee that to me?
There's no way I can ever guarantee that any government will not be tyrannical.
Well, then the debate on gun control is over because I will never give up my guns. Never. And you should go to China to see how gun control works.
Dude, she messaged me. She wants to come on. She wants to come here.
I love that.
Then this debate's over.
So one, he tried to be Charlie Kirk. He's not going to be able to do it. 2, Lily Tang destroyed him. He should have stepped away a long time ago. But it is what it is. They're really trying. I think the way for them to go is going to be more a Caruso route. I think it's going to be more a logical route. I think they try to go through Josh Shapiro, but some stories are coming out from Josh Shapiro from back in the days that's extremely disturbing. Look, I mean, they're going to try to find something. This is not the way to go.
No.
It's just not. This doesn't make the opponent say, oh, wow, what are they going to do? Go ahead, Adam.
Well, even though young David Hogg looks similar to Charlie Kirk, he ain't no Charlie Kirk. Completely conflicting ideology. Obviously, if you don't never familiar with David Hogg, he came on the national scene in 2018 during the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas school shooting when dozens of kids were killed literally right up the road here. How far is it from here? 20 minutes? 20 minutes. They couldn't have more conflicting ideologies on gun control. Charlie Kirk is a big two-way guy. And religion, principles, values, they couldn't be any more different. Charlie Kirk did not go to college. I think he wrote the book or wrote a lot about college being a scam, whereas David Hogg literally went to Harvard, so you know where he was indoctrinated. But beyond that, the Democratic Party is turned into what? Just a bunch of LGBTQ, BBW women just yelling about
racism,
listen to me, and misogyny and feminism and they, them, and thee, there, and who there, zee. There was another clip, I believe, when there was, I think all the sort of like the board members of the DNC or the people that basically were becoming the board. And they said, raise your hands if you think Kamala lost due to racism and misogyny.
Yeah, play that clip.
And every single one was like, me. Really? Racism and misogyny.
Seriously, yeah.
Okay, that's the
reason. If you got that clip, play it.
Do you have that?
Yeah, this is it.
So
here you go.
Go ahead.
In this round, so I'm going to, I have a show of hands.
Jonathan Capehart, this guy.
How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat?
Oh, God. What a bunch of dorks.
Yeah, all of them.
Okay.
And
what
look,
a bunch of dorks,
don't stop. Don't stop, Rob. Play the end. Play the end.
So that's good. You all passed.
That's good.
You all
Meaning
pass.
you all pass. Like if one of you said no just because she was unqualified or Trump had a better message, he would have probably lambasted them in front of everybody publicly. That's good. You all passed. How about, rather than focusing on gender ideology or LGBTQ or trans or global warming, you have an economic message that actually resonates with voters. We just had Ro Khanna here the other day, the congressman from Silicon Valley. And I asked him one question. I go, dude, Ro, how are you going to get dudes to vote for Democrats again? You had my vote 10 years ago, 5 years ago. At this point, there's no way I can vote for this nonsense.
Oh, my goodness.
As a dude, playing the dude, behind the dude.
Trying to vote for the dude.
Trying to vote for the dude. I can't vote for these dudes in dresses.
It's horrible.
Straight up.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is even more of a, like for me, I'm watching to see what AOC is going to be doing. I'm watching to see who they're going to get behind. I'm watching to see what Caruso's going to be doing. I'm watching to see what the centrist conservatives are going to be doing. Centrist liberals are going to be doing. And they're doubling down on the opposite side.
Yeah.
AOC is going after Nancy Pelosi, and so insider trading. Great, which is good. That's kind of like pushing each other out. But because there's so much opportunity, you're going to see a dog-eat-dog type of a environment. And I'm not quite sure they have yet figured out how to do it. Don't get it twisted. They're going to come back and compete. This was the most embarrassing loss of their careers. They're not going to let it sit like this. It's going to be something that they're going to make that comeback to come through and find a way to make some kind of progress for themselves. Rob, do you have the other story, the one I just texted you? Is that a yes or a no for the story, or you don't know yet?
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay, so then if you have that story, pull up that clip. Do me a favor, pull up that clip. And pull up that clip. So today happens to be someone's birthday.
Oh, man.
Today happens to be a guy's birthday that's aging backwards. He's turning 39 years old today.
39.
Today is the legendary Adam Sosnick's birthday.
Yeah.
Officially 45. You can no longer tell a different number because it's online, homie. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
What's your point?
Happy birthday, dear Adam.
That's his point.
Happy birthday to you. My man.
All right, make a point and
Appreciate
blow
you.
out the
Adam, make a
candles.
point speech wish.
Well, listen, you just exposed everything now. Now all the girls
Well,
I'm
Rob
talking
put
to are
it
gonna
up.
know that I'm not.
That's it. That's
still
not
40
true.
somehow. Let me make a wish real quick. Thank you, PBD.
Go ahead, buddy. Okay.
All right. I already know
Oh
what
my
I
God,
wish for.
it worked!
Happy birthday.
Well,
Adam.
listen, Pat. As
Yes!
I say all the time, just like this, I'm gonna be 70.
That's
Just
that's
like
crazy
that.
thing.
In
About
25
age.
years,
Yeah.
it's gonna fly by just like that.
That's the crazy thing.
But
you know, for those watching, okay, you know this whole concept about we're having dinner the other night. I don't know. We're in D.C. I think,
we're in DC
right?
for
We're
the
having this-
inauguration.
right? And we're having this conversation about how fast time flies by. And we went to this restaurant. What was that restaurant, Rob? The first night we went to, I don't
man.
even, it was cool.
What a freaking
the waiter
great-
was. He brought Arnold Palmer's like a NASCAR driver changing tires. He was phenomenal, right?
Yeah,
the way he would do
You
it.
were freezing. I
Egret
remember
Grill.
that.
Yeah, it was freezing.
What?
The Egret Grill? Was that
Is
it?
that what it was? It was
great food,
Yeah, we're sitting there.
conversation.
Definitely wasn't the name of the word.
Phenomenal conversations.
Pull it up.
But we
Rob
talked
and his
about the fact that, you know,
Old
time-
Ebbett Grill.
Old Ebbett Grill.
Yeah.
That's where it
Real
was.
cool place.
Amazing.
And we're sitting having this
Close.
conversation about aging, and Adam's got 6 girls around him, and they're just talking to him, and
Two of them were
everyone's
trans.
trying to validate,
Yeah, two of them were trans.
was Adam born in 1980 or 86? We're just kind of having a conversation going back and forth, and then it came down to, you know, we're going to be 7 years old like this.
Well,
But
listen.
let me tell you, while I was in D.C., I talked to John Shahidi.
Oh, Shahidi. Yeah.
John Shahidi was
Milk
a
Boys.
very, very good guy. That
Happy
whole
days.
crew,
He's
they're just good
amazing.
guys. We had a moment at the YouTube, if you remember that whole YouTube thing, it was a
Amazing.
very
It was a
interesting
great
moment.
Kyle.
He said, you know, that whole thing where life is short, Elon also thinks life is long, okay? Meaning there's an emphasis on both sides. I'm convinced both sides are right. Let me tell you why. Because right now you're 45 years old. God willing, you can one day experience what happened to me last night. At 3:45 in the morning, Brooklyn runs the way she does and wakes everybody up. Comes in the room. We're up till 4:45 with Brooklyn. But you're kissing her, you're hugging her. She doesn't want to take anything. She wakes everybody up. Senna's laying next to me, all this other stuff. These incredible moments you're going to share with family one day. As short as life is also long, and you got some of the best years ahead of you. You're going to build some of your greatest memories ahead of you. I'm so happy for you. God willing, if you choose to make some of those choices that are long-term, the things that actually matter in life, you will experience the real juices, the real good things in life.
Well, if I may, thank God, literally, that I have PBD around me and good influences around me, because if I didn't have PBD doing this every day, you married yet? You got kids yet? You married yet? You have kids yet? I'd probably be a bachelor for life. But you've helped me get very clear that just like this.
I have failed. I failed miserably.
No,
5 years, you're still, you know.
Well, listen, we're getting there. You have not failed. You're just, you got to try harder.
Is that what it is? I'm
No,
putting all the girls around.
No, it's good. I think you've set a great example for the young men out there. And I'm getting closer to where I want to be, and I definitely don't want to end up like Bill Maher. I love the guy, but love where he's at politically these days. But I don't think that being a childless cat man is for me for the rest of my life. And by the way, Vinny, we're gonna get you married too one of these days.
You sounded like it's a prison term. You're gonna get it too. It's like selling me a lemon. You're like, you like this piece of shit?
By the way, talking about lemons, there's a lemon story coming out here soon. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be exciting.
Ooh.
But for everybody else that's watching this and you want to wish him a happy birthday, you cannot connect. You know why? Because for the month, Adam is the super heavyweight for this month. Adam's the super heavyweight. Oh, no. Tom just passed him up again.
Tom got
shit,
me
for a
again?
minute.
Uh-oh.
He was ahead.
Tom was talking trash.
Are you guys noticing the points for the calls? Is that what you're noticing? Is it giving more points for calls?
No,
or
it
not
hasn't
yet?
done that
No,
yet.
it has
Okay,
not done
got
that.
it. No,
It
Tom
does.
has done 60 complete them next. Damn, you've done 39 already. Holy shit, we got some catching up to do. Send a Manek to Adam. Wish him a happy birthday, especially if you're part of the Adam camp and you want to see Adam take the lead. Those of you that are big Adam camps, send this guy a Manek. Wish him a happy birthday. Have a call with him. Have a conversation with him. And if you have a single lady friend that's wife quality, have her Manek him and Anyways.
And if you're rich, and if you're 80, 85, 90, and you're an older woman, and Manek me, if you're like almost on the way out, I'll marry you quick. Well,
it's so interesting. I'm looking for young and hot. You're looking for old and rich.
Old and just on the couch, where I just come home, I know she's there. She doesn't yell.
Gang,
so Manek me.
Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. We'll be out of town, but we will be back. I think we are back on Thursday, and tomorrow Stephen Greer's going.
Yes, sir. 9 a.m. tomorrow, Stephen Greer.
Stephen Greer, part 3. Very interesting conversation. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.